Chapter 26. Even the invitation letter inviting Begui and Rinlandi to enter the monster hall was facilitated by the fox god Shuangqi, and he wanted to be her bodyguard. However, he didn't see Begui and Rinlandi coming yesterday, but he saw Begui and Rinlan. Butterfly stands in the night parade of hundreds of ghosts. After waking up this morning, the first thing I did was follow Begui Yu and Rinlandi on her way to school. Who is that human being? Yu fox god Shuangqi's eyes were cold, and his tone was filled with coldness. From Yu fox god Shuangqi's point of view, Begui Yu and Linlan Butterfly belonged to him alone, and other strange men were not allowed to get involved, let alone other humans. But he followed Begui and Linlandi for about half a year, and he had never seen Begui Yu and Linlandi have contact with any man. Who is this man who suddenly appeared? Yu fox Shen Shuangqi really wanted to chop him with his own sword. Nuliang Lushan raised his left eyebrow, chuckled and said, "Interesting, he showed murderous intent towards me." Listening to Nura Rikushin's words, Begui and Linlandi patted her chest and promised seriously, "There are monsters who want to kill you, don't be afraid, I will protect you." "You protect me? Your courage is commendable." Nura Rikushin looked down at Begui and Linlandi holding his hand, and the murderous intention at that moment, and on the only way to the university where Begui and Linlandi was, he seemed to understand something. "I have a way to force him to show up. I need your cooperation. Can you force him to show up on his own initiative? Whatever you want me to do with you, as long as I can do it, it's fine." When Nuliang Lushan heard this, the corners of his mouth raised. Begui Yu and Linlandi agreed, so he wouldn't be polite. Immediately turning around to face Begui and Linlandi, Nuliang Rikushin stepped forward without saying a word and put his right hand around the other person's back, and then pressed his lips to it while the other person looked at him with puzzled eyes. Madara hurriedly covered his eyes, but still left a gap, and said with a smile, oh, not suitable for children." Well. Begui Yu and Linlandi had stopped thinking at this moment, and even her breathing felt like she was about to stop. She looked at the face in front of her and the cool touch on her mouth. "Myself, my precious first kiss is gone? Damn it! Damn it!" The fox god Shuangqi's eyes widened when he saw this scene. He went crazy and couldn't care about anything anymore. His body instantly transformed into a nine-tailed fox with white ears. He took out the knife in his hand and disappeared. In place. Woohoo! In the purple eyes of Begui and Linlandi, he saw a nine-tailed fox monster holding a long knife and flashed from behind Nura Rikuo and slashed at him. She wanted to speak to remind her, but she couldn't speak now and could only make a whimpering sound. Madara stood on Riku Nura's shoulder, his eyes half closed and motionless. He didn't believe Riku Nura wouldn't be able to react. Noticing the extremely condensed killing intent behind him, Rikuo Nura glanced behind him, and at the same time, a clear and sweet ding sound sounded, and the demon-repelling sword Miyaki Maru was unsheathed. Nura Rikuo held the handle of Miyakamaru's sword behind his left hand and blocked him back. Boom! A hurricane swept across, violently impacting the surrounding area. The short brown hair turned white visibly to the naked eye and extended to the left side. And this scene was completely seen by Begui Yu and Linlandi. After all, he was transforming right in front of her eyes. Isn't this guy a quarter of a monster? Can't he transform during the day? Why can he transform into a monster anytime and anywhere? Fortunately, she said she was protecting Nuliang Rikuo before, but now she feels ashamed thinking about it. However, with Nura Rikuo's ability, since he can detect and transform into monsters at will, it shouldn't be difficult to find the enemy. Why do we need her cooperation? It's just a routine. A nine-tailed fox was caught, and it was also an atavistic demon. Nura Rikushin turned his head, and with one hand he could easily suppress the knife held by Yu fox god Shuangqi with both hands. He raised his hand to break the opponent's attack, and then kicked Yu fox god Shuangqi in the abdomen. The violent force exploded in the abdomen of Yu fox god Shuangqi, causing him to fly backwards with a strong wind. Atavistic demon? Why did the atavistic demon attack you? Begui Yu and Linlandi is still in an unknown situation until now. Nura Rikushin turned to look at his fiancée, showing a rebellious smile and said, "I have to ask you. When you just held my hand, you noticed that this guy had the intention to kill me, and then I tested it. I didn't expect this guy to hide anymore. Is he your suitor?" Begui Yu and Linlandi looked carefully and saw that the atavistic nine-tailed fox had no impression at all. "I don't know this kind of guy at all. I haven't even seen him before. I don't know him at all." But it is possible that I will be jealous of you because of my appearance and want to kill you. As she said that, Baegui Yuan Linlandi smoothed her long, fragrant hair with her hands. It wasn't because she was narcissistic, but it was a fact. Because of his good-looking face, he has been in constant trouble since he was a child. Rin. Lord Linlandi, who is he and what is your relationship? The fox god Xuanqi showed a sad look, looking like a wounded dog. He could recognize that the person who was with the White Demon Night Parade was not a human being, but a monster. It was also the same monster that appeared at the front of the 100 Ghost Night Parade last night, and its status was definitely not low. Baegui Yuan Linlandi suddenly felt a chill. She frowned and said, Lord Linlandi? I don't know you at all. Don't call me so intimate. It's really disgusting. Make you feel sick. Ya Fox Shen Xuanqi suddenly suffered thousands of critical blows in his heart. Ahem. He pushed himself up and stood up, with blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. This showed how much damage Nurarikushin's kick had caused to him, but the pain on his body was far less than the pain in his heart. As for our relationship, Baegui Yuan Linlandi did not shy away, and once again took the initiative to reach out and hold Nurarikushin's hand, and said, You also saw that he is my fiancé. If you want to pursue me, you have found the wrong person. What? Your fiancé is not. The news about Ya Fox Shen Xuanqi was still lagging behind. He didn't even know that Baegui Yuan Linlandi's fiancé had changed 5 years ago, and he always thought he was the Aoki atavistic demon he knew back then. It seems that he is a guy who has unrequited love. So be optimistic, the person you like is now mine. Nurarikushin stretched out his hand in a playful manner and held Baegui Yuan Linlandi in his arms, with a smile on his lips and a what can you do expression. The love and hatred between monsters, it's really a good show. Madara had already left Nurarikuo's shoulder, squatting on the 2.5 meter high wall with his little feet curled up, watching the happenings interestingly. It would be perfect if he could have something to eat and drink now. Don't be like this, I'm sorry. Baegui Yuan Linlandi pushed a little, but couldn't push Nuliang Rikuo, and finally had to be quietly hugged by Nuliang Rikuo. Please give me flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 27. Yahu Shen Xuanqi broke through his guard, and said with tears in his eyes, Master Linlandi, it's impossible, how could you have this person as your fiancé? I'm observing you silently, I think I know something about you, how can you maybe there is this monster as my fiancé, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Baegui Yuan Linlandi frowned and said, You are observing me silently? After all, you are also an atavistic demon. You, an atavistic demon, are actually following you. Thanks to your appearance, I didn't expect you to do such an obscene act. Shit, bah, disgusting, it's not a pity to die. She didn't even know that she was being followed by such a thing. There was a stalker behind her who recorded what she bought and ate. Just thinking about it made her want to kill this pervert with her own hands. He is indeed a fox with evil tastes, but that's it for now, let's die. Nuliang Sheng activated his astronomical ability, and the originally sunny weather suddenly became covered with dark clouds. A lightning snake walked across the dark clouds and spanned 1,000 meters in an instant. Boom! As Nurarikuo waved his hand, thunder exploded, and a blue lightning struck from the sky, aiming directly at the 9-tailed fox demon in front. Snapped! The thunder of nature is more powerful than any means. Let alone an atavistic demon with the strength of a demon soldier, even the demon commander cannot resist the thunder of nature. As for the two blazing fox gods, they were instantly split into blue smoke by the thunder and lightning. Nothing was left, and they died without a burial place. Boy, you can actually control thunder and lightning. What a terrifying ability this is. As the Demon King, Madara looked up in shock at the dark clouds that quickly receded, returning to the clear sky just now. This is not thunder released by power, but natural thunder. Oh my god, Nurarikuo can actually control thunder and lightning? Okay. Nurarikushin said casually, he has also been studying the manipulation of celestial phenomena for a long time in the past 8 years. Since it can already affect the weather, why can't we use the power of nature to fend off enemies? So Nurarikushin spent several years researching, and finally used the manipulation of celestial phenomena not only to show off, but also to fight against enemies. Nurarikushin pinched the cheek of Baegui Yuan Linlandi who was in shock, and said, Let's go, the stalker has been dealt with for you, it's time to continue to your school. Oh. After Nurarikushin sent the Shiraji and Rinlan butterfly to Plum Blossom High School, he returned to his own Sakura High School. Before entering the campus, Madara had already walked away from Nurarikushin. Because Rikuo Nura went to send Haki and Rinlan butterfly to Plum Blossom High School first, when he arrived at Sakura High School, there were almost no students at the gate of the school. He should be the last student to enter the school today. After arriving in his class, he sat down. Mahiroshina, who was reading a book carefully at the side, noticed the movement on her right side, put down the textbook and turned around to look. He asked with a concerned tone, "Nuliang, did you catch a cold after returning home yesterday?" "It's totally fine. What about you? You've been in the rain for a lot of time. Don't you have a cold?" Nurarikuo saw that Mahiroshina looked fine and didn't look like she had a cold at all, but he still asked. "I took preventive medicine when I got home and took a hot bath, so I didn't catch a cold. Also, thank you for the umbrella." Shina Mahiru returned the umbrella that Rikuo Nura lent her yesterday from her school bag. "Then I'll take it back." Nurarikushin took the umbrella and stuffed it back into his bag. Time flies, and in a blink of an eye, it's time for school to end. In this country, after high school, there is no complicated academic work, but various club activities. The club activities last for about 1.5 hours, from 4 o'clock after school to 5:30 at dusk. Today, Rikuo Nura did not go home from school like yesterday, because he was currently participating in club activities. The name of the club was Kiyoshiji's Strange Detective Corps, and its director was Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu. Nurarikuo, Sawamura Eri, and Kiyoshiki Kiyoshi headed to their club department together. Kyoko Kiyosugu hooked his arms around Nurarikushin's neck and said carelessly, "Rikushin, yesterday we recruited several like-minded comrades to join our club, and they are all beauties. How about it? Look forward to it." Nurarikushin said calmly, "Normally, I don't expect that." And Eri Sawamura, who was walking with the two of them, asked, "Buku, do you think we can really find the Lord of the Monsters?" The reason why Eri Sawamura joined Kiyoshiji Kiyoshi's club was to find the monster who saved her more than a month ago. She didn't want to lose contact just like that. She wanted to ask him what his name was and what he liked. In short, there is a lot to say to her. Yesterday afternoon, after the physical education class, Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu revealed to her that when he was a child, he was also saved by a monster in Sawamura Iri's painting, so the two had a common topic, and Sawamura Iri also joined this strange thing. Societies. Kiyoshiki Kiyoshi clenched his fists and said excitedly, "Of course, that's why I founded this club. I want to see monsters, understand monsters, and make friends with monsters. I have this confidence that I will definitely be able to find him. What should I do if I find other bad monsters?" Eri Sawamura asked a fatal question. After knowing that there are monsters in this world, the world is not simple. There are many monsters. Since we are looking for the master of monsters, we will definitely encounter other monsters during the search. So what should we do at this time? Ha ha ha, don't worry, I don't have to worry about what I do. Even if I encounter other bad monsters, I have ways to deal with them. Peachwood sword, talisman paper, glutinous rice, garlic, cross, there will always be one monster that I am afraid of. Kiyoshiji Kiyoshi said confidently that Nurarikuo didn't know how to complain. This guy was not reliable at all. None of the things he mentioned were scary to monsters. If you really encounter a monster, just lie down on the ground and wait for death. The three of them came to a club labeled the Strange Detective Group. The club department occupied a room half the size of a classroom. This kind of room was specially used for students to carry out club activities. Of course, rooms of different sizes are allocated to different societies. After the three people entered the community department, there were already 3 people waiting. Nurarikuo looked around and saw at a glance the people he was very familiar with, the Yuki Onna and Oikawa Hingrai. The difference was that she now restrained her demonic aura and appeared in human form. Oikawa Hingrai showed a heartfelt smile after seeing Nurarikuo, which was really beautiful. "Bingley, why are you here?" In the past, Nurarikuo repeatedly stated that he did not need to send monsters to protect him when he was in school, and indeed he did not have any monsters when he was in elementary school and junior high school. But why is the Yuki Onna here now? Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 28. In addition to Oikawa Hingrai, there are 2 other girls. One of the girls is a long, straight black girl with light golden pupils. She is quite beautiful and her name is Yotsuya Miko. The other girl is more beautiful than Yatsugamiko. She also has straight black hair and wears seductive black stockings. She is third year Mai Sakurajima, who is 2 years older than everyone present. Different from the two beautiful girls Yatsuya Miko and Sawamura Eri, they are slightly green, but Sakurajima Mai's face looks quite mature and looks much more majestic. Even Oikawa Hingrai is not as good as her. After all, the snow girl Hingrai is taking the cute route, not the mature and sexy route. Mai Sakurajima looked at the people. Originally, she didn't want to join the club, but when she heard that Kiyoshiki Kyoji was recruiting people, she said it was a strange club, looking for monsters and so on. When she heard words like strange events and monsters, she thought of what had happened to her this week, so she joined in. Anyway, she was bored and idle. And Yatsuya Miko was fooled into it by Kiyoshiki Kyoshi. Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu stood in front of the 5 Nuliang Rikushins and announced loudly, "Yokai, now that we have gotten to know each other, let me tell you the main activities of our club. The content of our club is to search for strange things. Objects, that is, monsters." Nurarikuo, Sawamura Eri, and Oikawa Eire did not speak. 2 of the 3 were monsters, and 1 was saved by a monster, so they naturally knew the existence of monsters. As for Yatsuya Miko, she joined in precisely because he can see things that ordinary people can't see, including monsters, filth, and ghosts. She didn't know why, but since she was living a normal life 10 days ago, she suddenly had the ability to see things that ordinary people couldn't see. This made her very scared. She was afraid that what was wrong with her would not be found out even if she went to the hospital. So come. In order to survive, Yatsuya Miko was very scared, so she kept pretending to be invisible like ordinary people. However, these monsters were so scary that they would definitely behave strangely when they saw them. Fortunately, she had a strong psychological quality and saved the day every time. And when I was choosing a club after school yesterday, I saw Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu's strange detective team recruiting members. Hoping that the other party might know something, Yatsuya Miko stepped forward to chat, and found that the other party knew a lot about monsters, and even said that he had really seen monsters. Then the 2 gradually communicated, and Yatsuya Miko unknowingly got fooled into it. After filling in my name to join the group, I came back to my senses and regretted it. Shouldn't I stay away? Why did I take the initiative to join the monsters? But since she had signed it, she couldn't go back on it, so she came. Seeing no response from the others, Mai Sakurajima raised her hand and questioned, "Wait, look for monsters. Are there really monsters in this world?" "Have." The other 5 people said the same thing in unison, after all, they had all experienced it personally. Mai Sakurajima looked at these people and answered so neatly. "Have they really seen Kaname yokai?" Kiyoshiji Kyoji took a few steps forward, stood in front of Sakurajima Mai, and said very seriously, "Senior Sakurajima, you have to believe that there are real monsters in this world, because I have seen real monsters, not just me, everyone in the village has seen it." This. When Kiyosugu said seriously that he had seen monsters, Sakurajima Mai also looked forward to it, which was quite interesting. "Don't be afraid. I have brought a lot of things that can restrain monsters. Each of us will take one thing later. Then we will set off to explore a nearby abandoned elementary school and search for monsters. All additional expenses in the process will be borne by. Don't worry if I come out." Kyoko Kyoji gave a thumbs up and showed his white teeth. His family was a nouveau riche, so he didn't have to worry about money at all and could just focus on exploring. Yatsuya Miko asked, "Why does it have to be at 4:30? Kiyoshiji Kiyosugu explained, "Because monsters only appear at dusk, which is the time of 5 o'clock when encountering monsters." During the half-hour period, Kiyosugu took out various high-end snacks brought from home and distributed them to everyone to taste, chatting with each other to pass the time. "Hingrai, if you don't stay at home, well, why did you come to my school and join Kiitsuji's club?" Nurarikuo and Oikawa Hingrai walked to the window nearby and started talking quietly. "Of course it's to protect the young master. In 3 months' time, the young master will take over as the 3rd generation. There can be no mistakes during this period, so I'm here." Oikawa Hyaure blinked cutely and said matter-of-factly. "You protect me? Who is protecting whom?" Nurarikuo was quite speechless. "Are you here to show off your cuteness? Oikawa Hingrai is just a demon general, and you still protect him. It's a joke." Soon, the time came to 4:30, and a group of 6 people took a car and arrived at the gate of the abandoned elementary school that Kiyashiji Kyoji had mentioned. As the sun sets, looking at the dilapidated primary school, several people have different expressions on their faces. Nurarikuo's expression was indifferent, Oikawa Eire was curious, Sawamura Eri was nervous, Sakura Jimamai seemed indifferent, Yatsugamiko was a little scared, and only Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu was the most excited. Needless to say, this kind of abandoned place is where some demons and monsters like to live, but the people who live in this kind of place are all low-class monsters, which pose no threat to Nuliang land. Everyone, let's go in and start the first adventure of our Qing Cross Strange Detective team. Let's go. Before entering, Kiyasugu Kyoji distributed items to ward off evil spirits to everyone. Nurarikushin was holding a handful of garlic, his head was covered with black lines, but he found it a bit funny. By the way, Nuliang-san, this is your cat. It's so fat. Doesn't your shoulder feel sore when it's lying on your shoulder? Sawamura Iri tilted her head and pointed at the cat lying on Nurarikushin's shoulder. This cat was too fat, and its head was a little bigger than other cats, but fat cats looked cuter than normal cats. And just lying on Nurarikuo's shoulder so quietly, squinting his eyes looked even more kawaii. Nurarikushin laughed and said, "It's not bad. This fat cat likes to cling to me. It's such a spoiled brat that I can't help it. Can I have a hug?" On the one hand, Yatsugamiko saw that Madara's lucky cat image was really cute. On the other hand, when entering this abandoned elementary school, she would definitely see monsters and ghosts. If she could hold a cat, her sense of security would definitely increase. Nurarikushin said without even thinking, "Take it and hold it for as long as you want." Madara didn't react either. "Thanks." Yatsuya Miko smiled back at Nurarikuo, and then reached out to pick up Madara. Feeling the weight of the cat, it was indeed very heavy, but after holding the cat, Yatsumiko's fear did dissipate a lot. Asking for flowers, monthly tickets, evaluation votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 29. Oikawa Hingrei and Nurarikuo were walking together, and she whispered, "Young master, where did that cat come from? It does look like a cat, but it can talk, and it is not afraid of the monsters in my family at all. Yesterday during dinner in the evening, I even drank and mingled with the monsters. It must be a monster too. Didn't I tell you? Madara is indeed a demon. His current appearance is just his container. His true form is a branch of Yinghu. He didn't tell me the details, but he is stronger than you." "Stronger than me? Is he a handsome guy?" Oikawa Hingrei is a demon general, and she is also a demon who has lived for hundreds of years, but her real combat power is not strong. She must know that the strength Nurarikuo talks about is not just combat power. Nuliang Lu Shenjiun Danfan corrected him gently, "It's the Demon King." "What? Demon? Demon King?" The last 2 words Oikawa Hingrei almost screamed out, "That is the Demon King." In this era when no big Demon King appears, the Demon King is the ceiling of monsters. The total number of Demon Kings across the country is less than 10. The reason why their Nura group can inform the monsters in the Kanto region is because of the Monster King. Now, the cat that got together with a group of little demons last night and drank like crazy and sang like crazy is actually the Demon King? Oikawa-san, what's wrong with you? Oikawa Hingrei's voice startled everyone else. Oikawa Hingrei knew that she was a little embarrassed and said awkwardly, sorry, I suddenly remembered something, so I couldn't control myself and screamed." Kyoko Kiyasugu exhaled and said, "I thought you had encountered a monster. Don't scare me. Okay, keep walking. It's strange. It stands to reason that in this abandoned school, even if it's not dusk, there will be monsters active. And it's already dusk now. Why haven't we seen any monsters?" Oikawa Hingrei looked around in the abandoned classroom, a little confused. Abandoned schools like this are the favorite places for wandering monsters. Why haven't I seen one yet? It's a bit abnormal. Nurarikushin took a deep breath and frowned. "I already felt that there seemed to be spiritual power in the air before I entered the school. The demonic energy in this school has been purified. Because of the existence of spiritual power, the demonic energy cannot stay here, that's why there is no ghost." Spiritual power? Could it be that a witch came here to purify the demonic energy, so it's so quiet? Oikawa Hiri was very surprised that there were still Mikos in this era. It was really strange. Mikos had long been eliminated in modern society, so there were basically no Mikos left. A true Myko is a human being who is born with spiritual power and can evolve various evil spirits, miasma, and other negative auras. Those with strength will also choose to eliminate evil spirits. In ancient times, because humans believed in monsters, witches were more popular. However, in modern society, monsters have become legends, so no one asks witches to destroy monsters anymore. Therefore, witches have basically disappeared. Even if they exist, they are just deceitful people. Nurarikushin said, this spiritual power is very strong. It seems that she is a very powerful Myko. Oikawa Hingrai hugged Nurarikuo's arm with her arms, and said with some fear, hey! Even young master, you said you are very powerful, so I'm afraid that monsters like Yuki Anna will disappear immediately if they encounter them. Nilayong Rikushin smiled and said, this is the power of some human beings, such as onmyojis and witches. They have only practiced for more than 10 years, but their Taoist practices can be more powerful than monsters that have lived for more than 100 years. Oikawa Hingrai thought it made sense, it seems to be true, so Master Rikuo is so powerful because he has human blood. Who knows? Everyone searched almost the entire school, but they couldn't find a single monster. It's strange. You can usually see ghosts or other things on the road at night. Why is there nothing here? It's so strange. Yotsuya Myko was a little unbelievable. Shouldn't there be many monsters in such a dark and damp abandoned school? Why was there none? You can usually see ghosts even during the day, but not one in a place like this. It's so fake. In the end, everyone who gained nothing had no choice but to go home. Kiyoshiki Kiyasugu said disappointedly, it's really disappointing. I thought there would be monsters here, but I didn't expect this to be the result. Okay, that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. The club activities ended perfectly, and everyone went back to their homes. Nurarikushin and Oikawa Hingrai walked out of the campus. He said, Hingrai, you go back first, we are waiting for you to cook at home. Ah, it's already 6 o'clock. We have to go back early to help Mrs. Wakana and the others cook. So, young master, please be careful on the way. I'll go back first. Oikawa Hiri not only takes care of Nurarikuo and her family, she also has the task of cooking for the family's monsters part-time. Of course, she is not the only one who cooks. Nurawakana takes the lead and forms a team of chefs. After Oikawa Hingrai left, Nurarikuo walked on the road that was completely dark. At this time, Madara, who had been silent for a long time, said seriously, Lu Sheng, the spiritual power of the abandoned school before was comparable to yours. Even I have never seen such a strong spiritual power. Even Madara, the demon king, felt solemn just from the remnants of the spiritual power, because Madara felt that the master with spiritual power could already threaten him. Nurarikushin's expression was also very serious. He nodded and said, indeed, this is the first time I have seen this kind of spiritual power. Let's go back and see how it came about that such a powerful person appeared on my territory. I'm afraid it's not that simple for a witch. Nurarikuo became serious. This is the territory of the Nura group. There is a Myko with powerful spiritual power here. If the other party comes for the Nura group, it will be a bit troublesome. Madara, let's go. Madara glanced at Nurarikuo, without saying anything, and jumped directly from his shoulder. Then a burst of smoke filled the air, and he transformed directly into his mighty body. Nurarikuo also transformed into a demon, jumped onto Madara, and sat on his back. Then Madara kicked off all 4 legs, stirred up a huge wind on the ground, jumped into the air and started flying. Within 3 minutes, I arrived at the abandoned elementary school again. 1 person and 1 cat entered it, and after Nurarikushin turned into a demon, he could feel the spiritual power remaining in the surrounding air even more. Just the remaining spiritual power can make me breathe heavier. What is the origin of this spiritual power? Is it really the spiritual power that a human Myko should have? Nurarikushin frowned, feeling that things were in trouble. It would be terrible if the spiritual master felt that he was in trouble and really went to the Nura group. Madara reminded, Lu Sheng, there is a place where the spiritual power is stronger than the surroundings. The owner of the spiritual power should be moving there, go and have a look. A new day has begun. After reading this, please don't forget to vote for today's flowers and comments. I'm very grateful. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 30. Nurarikushin came to a teaching room and found a bow and arrow stuck on the wall. I haven't been to this place just now, so I missed it. Nuliang Lushan pulled out the arrow stuck on the wall, and after a closer look, he found that it was just an ordinary bow and arrow. Madara stood next to Nurarikuo's feet, holding the arrow and looking at it, and said, although the arrow is ordinary, the spiritual power on it remains for a long time. This shows how powerful the master who shot this arrow is. Strong, I say Lu Sheng, let's not go to trouble to find her, maybe we are just passing by. Nurarikuo would not listen to Madara's advice, with such a threat right next to me, I can't sleep at night, and even if it's an enemy, I won't necessarily lose. Madara said dissatisfied, idiot, the spiritual power of the owner of this arrow can threaten the Demon King. Aren't you asking for trouble by going here? That's not necessarily the case. Nuliang Lushan possesses blue karma fire. The power of karma fire can burn all things. It can be used in various ways. It is the strongest shield for defense and the strongest spear for attack. Nurarikuo is still a cunning ghost, possessing the mirror flower and water moon that can disrupt cognition, and the master of spiritual power is only a human being in the end. It does not matter if the spiritual power is strong, the body is only a fragile human body. Cut. Madara crossed his arms, dissatisfied with Nurarikuo's insistence. Seeing this, Nurarikushin turned around and said, don't worry, maybe it's just passing by as you said. I'll make contact with it in a human manner first, and then make any plans. Hey? That's right, you are a half-demon, and you also have a human identity. Even I can't see through it in the human state, and that human must not be able to see through it. Likewise, I am just an ordinary cat now. Let's go. Go meet that guy. After thinking about this, Madara was eager to try it. Then the two started tracking based on the remaining spiritual power on the arrow. Madara sniffed the remaining spiritual power and smell on the arrow, and then searched based on the spiritual power and smell. What kind of place is this place? Why are the buildings completely different from where I am, and the quality of human life is so good? It is very different from the warring states period that I am familiar with. It seems that I have come to another time and space that is different from the one I live in. The reason why the corpse of the monster thrown into the bone-eating well disappeared must have been teleported to other places. However, when I came, I did not see any monster corpses been moved away by people in this world, or is the well of bones still connected to other places. At night, on the road in the city, there was a beautiful woman with excellent temperament looking around with doubt in her eyes. She is probably only 17 years old, but her temperament is completely inconsistent with her age. Compared with her peers, she appears more mature, steady, dignified, and quiet. She has dark eyes, an oval face, a sleek black hairstyle, and a plain white hair tie to tie her hair. Her delicate and beautiful facial features plus her temperament make her a classic beauty. She wears a white top and red bottom Miko costume, and her back he carries a bag of arrows on his back and a long bow in his left hand. Looking at an environment completely different from my own era, my eyes were filled with confusion and unknown. Her name is Kikyo, and she comes from a warring states period full of monsters. She is the only witch in her village. She was born with strong spiritual power. She has become a witch since she was a child and protected the village. She has destroyed countless people with a bow in her hand. There are so many monsters that even Kikyo himself can't count. But just 2 hours ago, Kikyo went out to eliminate the monsters that invaded the village. When she returned home, she found that her sister was not at home. She went out to search and finally found her sister in the bone-eating well. The bone-eating well is a well without water. It is the place where Platycodon's village disposes of the corpses of monsters killed by Platycodon. As long as the monster corpse is thrown into it, it will disappear completely within a few days, as if it can swallow the monster corpse, so hence the name. Because my sister was still young and was playing with the children in the same village, she somehow fell into the bone-eating well. She had been there for more than half an hour, afraid to act, until Kikyo went down and pushed her sister up. But just as Kikyo was about to go up, the bone-eating well under her feet shone with light. In the blink of an eye, she appeared in a different era from the warring states period. After coming out of the well, he found a large abandoned house with many lowly monsters and monsters inside. Thinking that for the safety of the people around him, Kikyo used his own abilities to deal with the monsters and ghosts inside. But when she tried to go back through the well that sent her here, she found that she couldn't go back. In desperation, Kikyo had no choice but to step out and look for any solution, but she asked many people but couldn't get any useful information. I just asked what the abandoned place was. It was a school similar to the world she was in, but it had been abandoned for 10 years. Look, she's wearing a Miko costume. She's so beautiful, especially those deep eyes. She seems to be a real witch. She is so beautiful and has an ethereal temperament. I never thought that such a beauty could exist. This sister is so beautiful, she seems to be free from fireworks. Wherever Platy Kodan passed by, the people around him would look at it a few more times and marvel, because with just one glance, they seemed to be able to see the divine brilliance from Platy Kodan, as if the beauty of this era should not exist. Kikyo looked at the world with gentle eyes. There was no smell of killing in the air. Everyone was living happily and did not have to worry about their village being attacked by monsters all the time. Although there will still be ghosts and monsters, people in this era are much happier than where I am. Kikyo smiled warmly when she saw this peaceful era. It would be great if her world could be like this. However, it is not my world after all. I have to find a way back. What if monsters attack the village when I am not here? Kikyo's eyes became firm. Although this world is good, she does not belong to it. She still needs to protect the people in the village and cannot stay in this world for a long time. But in this vast sea of people, in an unfamiliar place, she had no idea where to start, leaving her helpless. And Platy Kodan didn't dare to stray too far from the well. It would be even more troublesome if he walked too far and got lost. After coming out of Platy Kodan, the various streets extending in all directions were very complicated and completely different from the roads of her time, so she was afraid that she would get lost if she went too far and never find the well that brought her here. Lu Sheng, go this way. Madara's nose kept sniffing the ground, looking for the owner of the arrow. Madara, can your nose really smell the spiritual power of that Miko? Looking at Madara's appearance, Nurarikuo asked. Although he could feel the spiritual power in the abandoned elementary school, when he came outside, he couldn't sense it at all. It would be impossible to have any spiritual power anymore. I didn't expect Madara to be able to smell the spiritual power and search for it. Unexpectedly, Madara said with disdain, are you kidding? How could I really smell the scent of spiritual power and look for it? Although that person's spiritual power is powerful, it is impossible to smell any spiritual power without taking action. I was just looking for it by smelling the scent of the witch still on the arrow. Please support me with your votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 31. We found her. It's her. She's walking down the street wearing a witch's clothes. After following Madara to a street, Rikuo Nura immediately saw Kikyo wearing a Miko uniform. After all, the Miko uniform was too eye-catching. The moment he saw the Miko, Nurarikushin's heart skipped a beat. She was such a beautiful woman, and it felt like falling in love at first sight. Madara jumped onto Nurarikuo's shoulders. Yes, it's her, Rikuo, what are you going to do? Nurarikuo looked at Madara, then at the Miko, then showed a sinister smile and said, Fat cat, it's up to you. Several exclamation marks appeared on Madara's head. What do you mean, look at me? Kikyo looked at the delicious-smelling street snacks around her, and her stomach rumbled. Fortunately, there were noisy crowds of people around her, otherwise it would have been embarrassing. Speaking of which, before I finished my lunch, I had to get rid of the monsters because of the monsters that were harassing me. Even now, even using my spiritual power consumes my physical strength. But Kikyo knew that he didn't have the money here, so he just took a look and planned to leave. Meow. Just as Kikyo raised his feet to leave, he heard a cat meowing beside him. She looked down and saw a fat cat rubbing her feet, then lying on the ground and acting cute. Seeing this, Kikyo showed a gentle smile, knelt down and touched Madara's head with her left hand, and asked, which family are you a lost kitten from? Meow. Nurarikuo was standing not far away, stroking his chin and observing the Miko. She was very beautiful, her eyes were gentle, and her expression was smiling. When he saw the cat, he immediately knelt down and petted it. This shows that she is a very easy to get along with woman. The weapon is a bow and arrow. Both the bow and the arrow are very ordinary. It seems that it is purely spiritual power and has nothing to do with the weapon. But as long as she takes her bow and arrow, no matter how strong the spiritual power is, there will be no way to vent it. Just like onmyoji without shikigami. After getting to know the other party's personality and abilities, Rikuo Nura walked out. He came to Kikyo and said with a gentle expression, Beautiful lady, it seems that my fat cat enjoys your touch. Kikyo looked up at Nurarikushin and asked, Is this cat yours? Yes, I accidentally let it run away just now. I thought I couldn't find it in the crowd, but I didn't expect to see it at a glance under your dazzling figure. Are you a Maiko? I am a Maiko. Since the cat has been found, I will not disturb you and leave you here. With that said, Kikyo stood up and left. Nurarikushin winked at Madara. Madara immediately understood and quickly stood up and followed. Kikyo looked at Dubon who was standing in front of him and asked doubtfully, "Hey? Why did you follow me here? Didn't your master find you?" Nurarikuo came up and said, "It seems Madara really likes you. Miss Maiko, can you give him a hug?" This. Kikyo was a little hesitant, she shouldn't do such a thing now, but she was kind-hearted and looked at the cat in front of her, and couldn't bear to refuse. Meow meow. Seeing the other party's hesitation, Madara called out twice. "All right. That's great. Let me hold your bow for you first." "Thanks." Kikyo gave the bow held in her right hand to Nurarikushin, and Nurarikushin smiled after taking it. Kikyo, on the other hand, reached out to pick up Madara and stroked the hair on his back. I can't even detect a single stray thought in this human being. Her heart is very pure. It's impossible. Is there such a pure and flawless person in this world? Madara's heart was filled with turmoil. When Kikyo held him and stroked him, Madara could feel Kikyo's tenderness from the heart, without any impurities, and his heart was pure, just like the innocent heart of a child. Holding the bow in his hand, Nurarikuo inquired about the other party's origins and asked, "Miss Maiko, which shrine are you a Maiko?" In today's society, Maiko is a very rare profession. Kikyo replied, "I am not a shrine maiden, just a witch from a small village." "Well, my name is Rikuo." "Miss Maiko, what is your name?" "My name is Kikyo." "Platykodon?" Nurarikushin froze in place after hearing the name. His name was Kikyo, a Maiko from a small village with powerful spiritual power. Could it be the tragic character in Inuyasha? Talking about the anime Inuyasha, Nurarikuo had watched it once in his previous life, and he had a great fondness for Platykodon in it. It was entirely due to the existence of Bai Yueguang. I don't know how many viewers were moved by Platykodon. No wonder it is so beautiful. It's just that he is a cunning ghost, not Inuyasha, so he is tampering with him, and is Kikyo from the Warring States period. Why did he end up in the modern age? Reverse travel? Rebel against Tien Gang? What's wrong? Kikyo turned around and asked Nurarikushin who was stunned on the spot. Fine. Nurarikushin put his thoughts away. It seemed that she was indeed Inuyasha's Kikyo. After all, no Maiko could have such strong spiritual power, and be so beautiful and have outstanding temperament. From this point of view, it seems that they were either heading towards his Nuliang group, or they ended up where he was for some unknown reason. The two of them and the cat slowly walked out of the lively crowd and came to a relatively remote place with no people around. Nurarikushin narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Kikyo's back. At the beginning, she had taken him away from the crowd intentionally or unintentionally. Now that she was in such a deserted place, her identity would not be exposed. Impossible, Nurarikushin asked himself that he looked like a human now, and there was no trace of monster in him. No matter how powerful Kikyo was, in the end he was just a human, and it was impossible to see through him. Coincidence, just coincidence. As they walked, Kikyo stopped, and Nurarikushin looked at Kikyo's back and also stopped. Nurarikushin raised his eyebrows and asked softly, "What's wrong, Miss Kikyo?" Kikyo didn't look back and said calmly, "Lu Sheng, you and the cat in my hand are both monsters." Nurarikushin, spot. Just as Kikyo reveals their identity, Madara instantly transforms from a harmless lucky cat back to his true form. The evil spirit is rampant and he opens his mouth to bite Kikyo's neck off without saying a word. "Stop it, Madara!" Nurarikuo sensed something was wrong. Without a bow, he still held Madara in his hand. Now that he had seen through it, he directly identified their identities even when it was not good for him. He quickly told Madara to stop, and Madara stopped biting after hearing this. Facing Madara's attack just now, Kikyo turned around calmly, her face expressionless, as if she wasn't the one who was almost bitten just now. Nurarikushin and Madara can clearly see that there is a barrier around Kikyo, and purple spiritual power is gathered in its hands. If Madara really bites it, Kikyo's spiritual power will explode, and then the tyrannical spiritual power, even for Madara, will definitely not be comfortable without any preparation, because the spiritual power of a Miko is used to deal with monsters and monsters. Madara's attack will also be blocked by the barrier cast by Kikyo. What terrible humans! Madara was also startled in his heart. Fortunately, Rikuo Nura had just stopped, otherwise his spiritual power would have been damaged by the Miko. Asking for flowers, tickets, and all data. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 32. Kikyo glanced at Nura Rikushin one more time, luckily he could notice it, and the powerful demon still had this person as the leader, which was not easy. I'm new here, so I have nothing to do with you. Why are you targeting me? Kikyo couldn't figure it out, she just came here, it was impossible to offend her enemies, and these two demons obviously had a plan to come towards her. Could it be because of the abandoned school there? Nura Rikushin shrugged, there is no holiday now, but if you find a powerful spiritual witch on your property, you can't just treat it like nothing happened. You have to come and have a look. Kikyo nodded in agreement, well, that's the truth. If it were me, I would come to find out. So, this city is your territory. So be it. Nilayong Lushan said without comment. Kikyo looked back at Madara who was standing behind her. She had only seen the power of this monster. The monsters she had dealt with in the past had never been so strong. No wonder it could occupy the entire city. This city is so big that it must be the combined land of dozens of villages like the one she lived in, including the fields. And what can make this fox monster obey is that the young monster in front of him is either stronger or has an extraordinary status. The reason why Kikyo exposed it in person was because she had her own considerations. The other reason was because she was confident in her own strength, not out of sheer emotion. Don't worry. I see that the people living here are very nice and are not oppressed. This means that you are not relying on your own strength to bully humans, so I will not take the initiative to take action against you. Kikyo is not a witch who hates evil and hates evil. Monsters are also divided into good and evil. She will not beat them to death with a stick. Now that we have talked about this, the misunderstanding can be solved, let's continue. Nura Rikuo believed in Kikyo and threw the bow in his hand forward. Kikyo reached out to catch it, a little surprised by Nura Rikushin's decisiveness. She didn't expect to return the weapon to her so easily. Madara, come back. Madara glanced at Nura Rikuo, then glanced at Kikyo, and then his body suddenly transformed back into the appearance of a big, fat and round lucky cat. Hey! Madara jumped up, passed 2 meters above Kikyo's head, jumped directly onto Nura Rikushin's shoulders, then turned around and huddled up. Then Madara asked Kikyo, Miko, we ask ourselves that there is no demonic energy leaking out. How did you realize that we are demons? Kikyo didn't hide anything, and said truthfully, you hide it well, but no matter how well you hide it, it can't hide your true nature. I am a Miko. I am born with the ability to sense and purify filthy air. From the moment I touch at that moment, you already knew your identity as a demon. Madara said speechlessly, hey, well, you, a Miko, are a little different from the Mikos I know. I remember that Mikos don't have such power as you. Nura Rikushin also asked his doubts, since you know that we are demons, why did you give me your bow? Isn't that the weapon you used to attack? Kikyo calmly replied, you wanted to help me get it, so I let you get it. Nilayong Lushan, that's it. Kikyo, that's its spot. Nura Rikushin looked at Kikyo without saying anything, and Kikyo also looked at Nura Rikushin with clear eyes. Nura Rikushin chuckled, and then said in a surprising tone, interesting, Kikyo, you are so beautiful, are you interested in being my woman? Gah! Madara was stunned for a moment, and was stunned by Nura Rikuo's sudden and extremely harassing words. Kikyo has lived for 17 years, and this is the first time she encountered such a direct confession. She smiled softly and refused in the gentlest tone, thank you for your kindness, but you are a monster and I am a human. Humans and monsters have different paths, no? There may be results. Nilayong Lushan said indifferently, what does this have to do with it? My mother is a human being, and I am also a half-demon. While speaking, Nura Riku's temperament suddenly changed, his height increased, and his short brown hair turned into black and white. Even his appearance changed a lot and became more handsome. His school uniform also changed into a black kimono with blue base. The appearance of a Haori jacket. It is exactly the posture of Nura Rikushin as a slippery ghost. Half-demon. Hearing Nura Rikushin reveal his identity, Kikyo was not surprised because she had already made some guesses. Although there are not many half-demon in the world of monsters, they do exist, but every half-demon is looked down upon by real monsters and is isolated. The appearance of Nurarikuo at this moment was completely different from that of a human being. He was full of evil. He put on a rebellious smile and said, "Let me introduce myself again, Nurarikuo, the slippery ghost." The big demon and the slippery ghost. Kikyo has also heard about the slippery ghost, who is the master of monsters. However, Kikyo can see that Nurarikuo is not the kind of big monster that has lived for hundreds of years. The age of the monster seems to be young, but the monster aura is not to be underestimated. Watch for. Kikyo shook her head and said, "I'm sorry, but I still answered as I just said. Besides, I don't belong here either. I have my own place to go back to." "That's such a pity, Miss Kikyo, that you will regret it for a long time." Nilayong Lushan turned around, put his arms in his sleeves and turned away. He was betting that Kikyo would stop him. Of course, he was not accepting what he just said, but wanted to learn how to go back from him with a try mentality. After all, this city was his territory. What Nurarikuo said just now was just a casual tease. Naturally, he knew that the other party would not respond, but it was true that he wanted the other party to treat him as his woman. A beautiful Miko like Kikyo couldn't take advantage of others. Kikyo stood there, looking at Nurarikushin's figure gradually walking away, and lightly opened her lips and said, "Wait a minute. Anything else?" Nurarikushin half turned around, looking at Kikyo from the side of his face and the corner of his eyes. The initiative was now in his hands. "This city is your territory, so I want to ask you something." It was extremely difficult for Kikyo to find a way to go back on her own, but if she asked Nurarikushin, she might be able to know something better than being like a headless fly herself, so she told her origins. Madara hissed and said in surprise, "You are not a human being of this era, but you are from the Warring States period. Let me tell you, how can there be such a spiritual witch in this world? It turns out that you were born in the Warring States period. That can be explained by saying this. Okay, but I've never heard of a well that allows people to travel through time and space. What about you, Mr. Lu?" Hearing this, Kikyo was a little disappointed, and then looked at Nilayong Lushan, but he didn't have much hope. Even the Demon King didn't know about that well. Those of you who have flowers, evaluation tickets and monthly tickets, please support me, 3 quetzales. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 33. Nurarikushin thought for a moment and said, "I know a little bit about the well that travels through time and space." Really? Kikyo's originally disappointed clarity was immediately mobilized, and she looked at Nurarikushin with a joyful expression. "Certainly. I tried standing in that well, but I couldn't go back. Does it require a specific time or other conditions? Can you tell me how to go back?" Nurarikushin said jokingly, "Not all passages are two-way. It may be one-way passage." "This, can't I go back?" Kikyo frowned. "One-way passage, that is, you can go, but you can't come back. How could this happen? Could it be that she can't go back to her own time? What should Xiaofeng do? Xiaofeng is her sister. If one could say that Kikyo's only bond during the Warring States period was her sister." Nurarikushin looked at the beautiful, flawless but frowning face in front of him, turned around completely, and walked a few steps forward. "I'm just saying it's possible, how do you know if you haven't tried it yet?" Nurarikushin's words gave Kikyo a glimmer of hope. "Then what should I do? Please tell me, Nurarikushin. Just call me Lu Sheng." "Okay, Rikuo." "So refreshing?" Nurarikushin was a little surprised, but he was relieved when he thought that the other party was the kind of informal person. Madara narrowed his cat eyes and looked at Nurarikuo. "This little guy really has quite a bad taste." Nurarikushin nodded. "Well, I'm a little hungry now. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Let's go eat first. We'll talk after dinner. I'll treat you. Let's go." Kikyo stood there and stared at Nurarikushin's back, and followed him without hesitation. "Kikyo, how old are you?" 17 years old, how about you?" 16. Only 16. Kikyo was surprised. The older and stronger the monsters are, the longer their lifespan will be. The lifespan of some slightly stronger monsters is 6 or 7 times that of humans. The slippery monster he encountered now was only 16. In other words, there was a more powerful parent in his family, who was worthy of being a legendary monster. 17. Nurarikushin muttered to himself. He remembered that Kikyo started guarding the Four Souls Jade when he was 17 or 18 years old, met Inuyasha, and was officially killed by Naraku at the age of 18. Now it seems that Kikyo doesn't look very anxious. We haven't really started guarding the Four Souls Jade yet, but we will soon. To be honest, Nurarikuo has a high affection for Kikyo. Not only did he know Kikyo from watching the Inuyasha anime, but he also liked Kikyo's mature and ethereal temperament and delicate and beautiful facial features. In short, it's love at first sight. However, the so-called love at first sight is often just a matter of lust. Rikuo Nurao also admits this. The two of them were walking on the road, when suddenly a strong wind blew. Nuliang Sheng and Kikyo looked up at the same time, and saw a colorful, 10-meter-long centipede monster flying in the sky, behind the centipede. And a figure wearing a black sweatshirt kept jumping on the rooftops of humans in pursuit. What is that? It's not a monster. Instead, it looks like a gathering of evil thoughts. And it's not just big ones like this. There are many smaller ones in the streets and alleys. Kikyo lowered his head and looked at a fist-sized gathering of evil thoughts hiding in a corner. It was the same type as the big one in the sky. The difference was that this one was still small and harmless to humans for the time being. Nuliang Rikuo glanced at it and then withdrew his gaze. This is filth. When people live under great pressure in this world, they will think randomly and produce all kinds of negative emotions, thus breeding filth. And these filths are what ordinary people see. Not enough. In today's peaceful era, the pressure of life is getting bigger and bigger, and the population is denser, which will produce all kinds of negative emotions and breed filth. It didn't happen in our time. Even living was a luxury. We had no chance to think wildly because of the pressure of life. Who was the person who was chasing filth just now? He didn't look like a human or a monster. Platycodon doesn't understand. Living in such a peaceful era, is the pressure even greater? It's a god. God. Yes, 8 million gods. The 8 million is not really that many, but because there are many gods, it sounds better to refer to 8 million in vain. These gods are gods born from human wishes and have different responsibilities. It is the work of gods to listen to or fulfill human wishes, and it is also one of their responsibilities to eliminate the filth born of human negative emotions. Nurarikushin has been in contact with several gods, so he knows a little bit. Kikyo asked curiously, is there any conflict between these gods and you demons? Nuliang Lushan said, there is no conflict. Their main responsibility is to fulfill human beings' wishes and eliminate filth. Moreover, there are very few gods who are really powerful. More than 80% of them are weak gods. They have no time to take care of us, and they don't dare to start a war that will lead to the destruction of life, and there is no conflict of interest, so the water in the well does not conflict with the river. I see. You've asked me so many questions, it's my turn to ask you. Kikyo did not refuse and said, what do you want to know? Nurarikushin said bluntly, do you have someone you like? Madara complained in his heart, this kid doesn't really like this Miko. He is a slippery ghost, not a sentimental ghost. No. Kikyo answered without thinking. What is dream? Protect the village from monster attacks, protect my sister and let her grow up happily. What is your favorite thing? Same as my name, Platycodon Flower. Nurarikushin asked several questions in succession, but these questions were all about Kikyo. Madara sounded very bored and kept yawning. The questions you asked are all about me. Don't you want to know what it was like in that era I lived in? Are there any powerful monsters? Even Kikyo, who has an indifferent personality, couldn't help but have some emotional fluctuations after answering a series of questions about herself. Some doubts arose in my heart, does this slippery guy really like me? Platycodon has lived for 17 years and has never felt what she likes. She feels unfamiliar with it. And she couldn't. As a Miko, she had to fight the monsters wholeheartedly, protect her residents, and protect her sister. Kikyo felt that she would never fall in love with any man in her life. Nuliang Lushan teased, I don't want to know anything other than you, I just want to know you. Kikyo and Nurarikuo looked at each other and sighed helplessly, looking like it was troublesome, but she didn't care too much because she was definitely going back, and then there would be no chance for the two of them to meet again. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 34. Nurarikushin took Kikyo all the way to a Japanese restaurant and ordered a table of dishes, but most of them were speckled, plus 2 bottles of wine. Look, is that a witch? What a beautiful Miko! I want to wear a Miko uniform once too. It's not the Miko uniform that's beautiful, it's the person wearing the Miko uniform. That boy is so handsome. He has a handsome face, unique hair, and what kind of hair wax he wears. He has a good look and is well dressed. He is so handsome. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, what a match. In the restaurant, Nurarikushin and Kikyo immediately attracted everyone's attention after their arrival. Appearance is everything. Platycodon grandiflorum has grown up in the admiration of others, so she has become immune to the evaluations of outsiders. Whether it is the Warring States period or here, there are only a few words that are the same. Not long after, the 9 dishes ordered were brought out, almost filling the table. Seeing a full table, Nurarikushin knocked Madara on the head, and then scolded, "Madara, you guy ordered so many." Madara stood at the corner of the table and clenched his fist at Nurarikushin and said angrily, "What's the big deal? You, the majestic young master of the Nura group, are you afraid that you can't afford this amount of money?" A tic-tac-toe appeared on Nu Liang's forehead and he said, "It's not that I can't afford it, but that I can't finish it and can't waste food. You fat cat, I really shouldn't have brought you out." Madara refused to admit defeat and said, "How can I not finish eating? I will eat it for you to see. I can't hold you to death." Nurarikushin shook his head at him, then looked at Kikyo and said, "You're welcome, just eat. When I first saw you, I heard your stomach protesting." It was rare for Platycodon to have a blush on her face, and she was a little embarrassed. "Thanks." Kikyo thanked Nurarikushin. It turned out that he didn't want to eat, but he heard that he was hungry, so he brought her here. He is obviously just a monster, but he can be so careful. Kikyo was indeed hungry, and since Nurarikushin was treating her to a treat, she wouldn't be polite. Hey, Nuliang, you are living a very prosperous life. You are accompanied by a beautiful woman and you eat so many delicious foods. It is really enviable." While the 2 of them and 1 cat were eating, 2 figures instantly appeared on the seats next to Nurarikushin and Kikyo. Meow. Madara was sitting at the table and eating a big meal. He was startled by the sudden intrusion of a man and a woman, and almost choked to death. Kikyo turned to look at the unknown woman who suddenly appeared next to her, and did not choose to take action because she did not feel the other party's hostility. "Hi there, sorry to bother you." Knowing that it was rude to show up like this, the woman apologized with a wry smile. "Fine," Kikyo simply replied, and judging from the situation, it seemed that she knew Nurarikuo. Sitting next to Nurarikushin was a man in a sweatshirt and scarf who looked quite downcast. He looked at the table with bright eyes, and his saliva was about to flow out. He said impolitely, "Wow, it's such a rich table, so I'm sorry, Awu, it's so delicious, I'd like you to eat it too, it's so delicious." The woman who was called the accompanist was very embarrassed, and apologized to Nurarikuo, "I'm sorry, Mr. Nura, please forgive my master for such rude behavior." Nurarikuo shrugged and said it didn't matter, and then looked at the man in the sweatshirt who was eating and drinking. This person's name is Yato, and he is an unknown god. An unknown god is a god who has no reputation, no shrine, and no one believes in him. This kind of god is at the lowest level of the priesthood, because gods are born out of human wishes or beliefs. There are named gods, beliefs, and shrines, so there is no need to worry about disappearing. No one believes in the nameless god, and no one even knows that there is such a god. Once no one in this world knows about this nameless god, then this nameless god will completely disappear and become a god that humans do not need and be abandoned by the world. Therefore, in order to prevent themselves from disappearing, the ignorant gods will use various methods to continuously fulfill human wishes to maintain their existence. They are very different from the famous gods who sit back and relax. They run every day to survive and make their existence known. The sense of existence of gods is very low, and they are easily ignored when walking in the world, so even if Yato appeared with his magic weapon teleporting just now, no one noticed it. The woman sitting next to Kikyo is Yato's artifact. The artifact is originally the soul of the dead who has lost his memory. After being favored by the gods, he is given a name and can become the god's weapon. God and the artifact are inseparable. Once the god loses the artifact, the combat effectiveness dropped drastically. Nurarikuo looked at Yato's appearance, shook his head and said, "Yato, you are as rogue as ever in your way of eating. You teleported here and started eating without saying a word." Yato put food in his mouth and said solemnly, "I just killed a filth and protected the people of this city. Shouldn't I give him a reward?" Nurarikuo felt that Yato was right, you should be rewarded, but I shouldn't be the one to reward you. Yadu said naturally, why shouldn't you? As the young master of the Nilayong group and the future general, this city is also one of your territories. I will help your Nilayong group get rid of the filth in the territory. I should be rewarded. Nilayong Rikushan said with a dark look on his face, isn't it the responsibility of your gods to kill the filth? People worship your gods. They take human incense money and enjoy the eternal existence of human faith. When did it become help me Nilayong group? You guys are really good at distorting the facts. According to what you mean, every god who kills filthy people in our territory will be rewarded. Be careful, I will destroy your shrine. Ah, by the way, yeah, you don't have a shrine, and you're still a homeless person. Opposite Kikyo heard the Nura group many times and thought of Nura Rikuo's surname. This Nura group should be the monster organization that Nura Rikuo belongs to. Remembering that she had told a lot about herself, but she didn't know Rikuo Nura yet, Kikyo asked Yado about his artifact. This girl, what is the Nura group? The accompanying voice was eating. After all, he followed Yado, the god of darkness, to run around for a living. Sometimes he had one meal but not another. Now that he could eat with Yado, although he was embarrassed and a little embarrassed, his stomach still had to be full. After hearing Kikyo's question, the accompanying voice immediately replied, the Nura group is the monster organization that Mr. Nura belongs to. The Nura group is the largest monster organization in the 7 counties in the entire Kanto region. There are more than 10,000 large and small monsters in it, and no organization dares to take advantage of its overall strength. It is known as the 100 Demons Night Parade, a veritable big monster organization, and Mr. Nilayong is the young master of the Nilayong group. One person is better than 10,000 people. And it is said that he will inherit the position of leader of the Nuragumi in the near future. Authors who get up early have flowers to eat. Do you have flowers to vote for? Please ask for various data. Don't keep what you have on hand. Just vote for the author's bacteria. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 35. Kikyo nodded slightly, inwardly surprised by the power of the Nura group. There were more than 10,000 powerful monsters, controlling the most prosperous area in the country. Even in her era, this organization was a giant among monster organizations. No one dares to mess with it, it's a monster organization similar to Inu admirals 400 years ago. Yadu didn't get angry with Nura Rikushan. In his opinion, Nura Rikushan was just a child. As a god who had lived for hundreds of years, he had no business being angry with children. Hey? I didn't notice it just now, Nura, you are actually eating here with a Miko in the form of a monster. What's the situation? It's a date. Shouldn't your team be in a hostile relationship? It was only at this moment that Yado noticed Kikyo sitting opposite. She was dressed in a Miko's uniform and had an elegant classical temperament. Even though she was a god, Yado showed admiration. Immediately, he kept scanning the two people with eyes that were interested in gossip. Nura Rikushan answered, we are on a date, so you, the light bulb, can leave. Kikyo glanced at Nura Rikushan. She also knew what the word date meant, but she didn't have the face to brush Nura Rikushan. I really didn't expect you to be so lucky to be able to date such a beautiful woman and reveal your true body in front of her, task tisk. Yado clicked his tongue twice and said nothing more. He continued to concentrate on eating. It had been a long time since he had eaten so well. This time Nura Rikushan was treating him, he had to eat more. Hey! Yado came back to his senses and saw that his table was empty. Where was the food? Turning around, he saw a fat cat with a big belly burping and eating his food. Yado was trembling with anger, stretched out his hand to grab Madara's neck, and said angrily, ah! My food, fat cat, spit it out for me. Ban immediately retorted, get out of here, who are you? These are all ordered by me, and there is no reason to spit them out after eating them. Which green onion? You fat cat, please listen to me clearly. I am the god of night fighting who is fast and convenient and can deliver goods to your door. In the future, I will open my shrines all over the country, and everyone will believe in me. Do, worship me, Yadu, and become the most famous god. By then, my sweatshirt will become a standard accessory for pedestrians on the road. Yado's expression kept changing, he was addicted to his imagination and couldn't help himself. Idiot! Madara rolled his eyes at him. After Yado calmed down, he pointed at Madara and said, by the way, Nura, is this your cat? Why can it still speak human language? Yadu, who had just finished answering the phone, said cutely to Nurarikuo, "Yokai, thank you for your hospitality. I just accepted a commission and am leaving first," with the sound. Compared to Yadu's casualness, the accompanying voice stood up politely and said, "Thank you for your hospitality, we will take our leave." Then, without waiting for Rikuo Nura to say anything, Yadu teleported away directly with the accompanying sound. Madara shook the wine in the goblet and said, Hey, he is really a frizzy and noisy god. Lu Sheng, how did you get to know him?" Nurarikushin didn't want to recall how he met Yadu. He said, "We have known each other for a few years. This guy, let alone mention it, has eaten. Then we can leave." Nurarikuo stood up when he saw that he was almost done eating, while Madara jumped on the ground. He had just finished eating, so he had to move around, otherwise he would really get fatter. Nuliang Rikushin had just taken a few steps outside, but he saw that Kikyo was standing there without moving, so he urged, "Kikyo, let's go, why are you still standing there?" Kikyo said expressionlessly, "We came here to eat, and it seems we haven't paid yet. How can we leave without paying?" Nurarikushin tilted his head, "Give me money? I'm a monster and a slippery ghost. I don't pay for my meals. I'm the one who says I eat and drink for free. So why should I give you money?" Kikyo looked around. They were standing here talking so clearly, but no one was looking at them, as if they didn't exist. Is this the characteristic of a slippery ghost, free of charge with his passive skills? It's so awesome. You can eat and drink for free. Lu Sheng, can you teach me this trick? Madara looked at it with eyes burning, eating and drinking for free. If he could do this trick, it would be so exciting. He could eat whatever he wanted and drink whatever he wanted. Thinking about it made him excited. Nurarikushin said bluntly, "It can't be taught, this is the innate skill of the sly monster." Kikyo said stubbornly, "You can eat and drink for free, but I can't. I will compensate the store." Platy Kodan knows that it is not easy for everyone living in the world, so she cannot give money for free food. Nuliang Lushan sighed and said, Okay, I really lost to you, I know, I will pay." After hearing that Nurarikuo would pay, Kikyo nodded and smiled at him for the first time. Seeing the smile on the other person's mouth, Nurarikuo smiled helplessly and came to the counter to pay. After walking out of the restaurant, Madara said he was going to exercise after cooking and left the two of them first. Nurarikushin raised his head and glanced at the moon in the sky, and then said, "You are the first one who can make a slippery ghost eat and pay, Kikyo. I'm not forcing you, you have to pay for it yourself." Seeing Nurarikuo looking a little depressed, Kikyo said slightly amused. The tone of Kikyo's words was much better than before, and she was no longer cold. If the robot answered, the relationship between the two of them had improved a lot over the course of a meal. After the two of them walked for a while, Kikyo said seriously, "Lu Sheng, can you tell me now how to go back? Even if it doesn't work, I will try it." Kikyo knew that even if Rikuo Nura had heard some rumors, they might not be useful, but he would give it a try whether it was useful or not. "Then first go to the place of the well where you came to this era." "Good." Platy Kodan led the way back to the abandoned elementary school, and then discovered a well in a relatively secret place of the abandoned elementary school. This well was a wooden well that looked very old. There was no water in the well for a long time, only thick soil. "This is the well that appeared when I recovered from the bone-eating well. It is exactly the same as the bone-eating well in my village. Could it be that this era is the future of the Warring States period where I live, and the bone-eating well has always been preserved?" Kikyo looked at the well in front of her that was the same as the one outside her village, and couldn't help but wonder if this era was the future of her era. Nurarikushin took one look and said, "It's impossible. A well, even if there is no water, cannot appear in the school. What's more, they are all ignorant elementary school students. When building this school, it will definitely get in the way. The well was demolished and it was impossible to preserve it, so this well probably appeared later." "What you said makes sense." Kikyo thought about it carefully, and what Rikuo Nura said did make sense. It was a school for children, so how could it be possible to keep a well and not be afraid of accidents? "Do you have Hua Piao Hua? Please provide various data." Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 36. Nurarikushin touched his chin and looked at the well, thinking about how to cross. Kikyo had already appeared here when he came to his senses without any props. Is it a coincidence? Rikuo Nura has basically forgotten the plot of Inuyasha. In the past, he would watch this kind of passionate anime and stop watching it after watching it once. Now after so many years, except for a few protagonists who still have impressions, it should be forgotten. He had long forgotten that he was also a little confused as to how to cross through this well. As for his previous claim that he knew, it was a complete lie. In order to cover up his embarrassment, Nurarikushin coughed lightly and said, "Jikyo, you go down and take a look first and try to stimulate your spiritual power." Kikyo shook her head, "It doesn't work, I've already tried it." "Is that so? Did you bring anything with you when you traveled through time?" "No, there is nothing else except the bow and arrows I carry." Nurarikushin came up with an idea, "Since you said this well can swallow monsters, why don't you try throwing a monster corpse in, and then wait and see if it can pass through with the monster corpse. This method is worth a try." Kikyo agreed with Nurarikushin's idea. It was easy for Nurarikushin to take Kikyo to find a monster that was causing trouble and was not one of Nura's group. Kikyo easily killed one with just one shot of the demon-breaking arrow. A werewolf with only demonic strength. After bringing the werewolf's body back and throwing it into the well, Kikyo also jumped into it and waited quietly. Nurarikushin stood at the mouth of the well and invited him again, "Jikyo, you really don't consider being my woman? If you really go back, you may never see me again in the future, unless you come again or I can pass through this well. Look for you." Kikyo raised her head and looked into Nurarikuo's red eyes. She said, "I don't belong to this era, and there are people I want to protect in my world, so I'm sorry, but I can only refuse your kindness. Then will you miss me when you go back?" "Maybe, but do you really like me, or do you just want to tease me and satisfy some of your special fetishes? I hope you can tell me the truth." Kikyo is a little concerned about this. After all, she is also a 17-year-old girl who has been verbally harassed by such a handsome man many times. Wanting to know what she looks like, Kikyo does have some fluctuations in her heart, but she always warns herself is the identity of a Miko. But what exactly did Nurarikushin mean? She still wanted to know the truth. "Want to hear the truth?" Kikyo looked serious and said, "Yes, I only listen to the truth, so please don't fool me with lies." Nurarikushin didn't speak, and the two just looked at each other for a few seconds. Then Nurarikushin moved and jumped into the well, standing in front of Kikyo. Under Kikyo's puzzled gaze, Nuliang Lushan stepped forward domineeringly and gave him a mouthful. At this moment, Kikyo looked at the handsome face in front of her in shock. As a Miko who had slain countless demons, she lost any resistance for a moment. Nuliang Rikuo just touched the water for a moment and then retreated. With a smile on his face, he said, "This is my answer." You actually." Kikyo never thought that Nurarikushin would be so courageous. She panicked and fell back to the well. She tightened her bow with her left hand and touched her lips with her right hand. She looked at it with a very complicated expression. "Nuliang Lu was born. Don't you want the truth?" Before Nurarikushin finished speaking, a burst of white light lit up under his feet. The white light was so dazzling that Nurarikushin subconsciously closed his eyes, as did Kikyo next to him. When Nurarikuo noticed that the white light dissipated in front of his eyes, he opened his eyes. Instinctively, he had some guesses about the light just now. He looked down and saw that the original werewolf corpse had disappeared, but Kikyo was still beside him. What made Nuliang Lushan feel that something was wrong was that this well was different from the previous one. This well was different, with green vegetation, but he clearly remembered that the well just now did not have such vegetation. Thinking about it this way, I really traveled through that well. No way? Nurarikushin wanted to play a gangster, but he didn't expect that he got involved. I'm back. Kikyo looked at the bone-eating well that she was very familiar with and felt completely relaxed. However, when she noticed the Nurarikuo next to her, the atmosphere suddenly became quiet. Lu Sheng, are you there? I don't know why I'm here, but let's go out first. Nurarikushin jumped out easily from the 2-meter-high well, and then stretched out his right hand towards the well. Kikyo hesitated for a moment, her heart that had just calmed down became uncontrollably agitated again. She put her hands on her chest, feeling her heart beating faster despite no movement. Nuliang Lu Sheng said, "Hey, Platy Kodan, why don't you come up?" Nurarikuo is a monster and can easily jump several meters high. But although Kikyo is a Miko and has powerful spiritual power, her physical fitness is not much different from that of an ordinary man. She is the type with high magic but fragile skin. Why? Kikyo sighed helplessly, and then stretched out her hand. She felt as if she had met her own enemy since meeting Nurarikuo. Nurarikushin held Kikyo's warm hand and pulled her out of the well with one hand without any effort. Is this the era you are in? I didn't expect that I would follow you here. It seems that my method must be effective. But we have all come here. Why didn't the werewolf corpse follow you? Nurarikushin was a little puzzled by this. There should have been a werewolf corpse after the teleportation, but the corpse was gone. Could it be that the condition for time travel is to sacrifice a monster corpse? Just as Nurarikushin was thinking, Kikyo's somewhat shy and angry voice came, Nurarikushin, how long are you going to hold this hand? Nurarikushin glanced at the catkin held in his right hand, and did not let go immediately. Instead, he smiled and said, I would like to hold it until the end of the world, but unfortunately, you will definitely not give me this opportunity, then hold it later. Kikyo immediately turned around and said with an absolute tone, impossible. Ding, please come to Kikyo's house to sign in. Oh? Has the system task been triggered? Listening to the systematic sign-in tasks in his mind, Nurarikushin was looking forward to it. He didn't know if the item signed in would be more powerful this time. Come on Kikyo, go to your house and let me see what your house is like. The two left the bone-eating well and headed to the village where Platycodon was located. Seeing that he was about to arrive at his village, Kikyo saw that Nurarikuo was still in a yokai state, and reminded him, Rikushin, don't reveal your identity as a monster in front of the villagers, they will be afraid. Listen to you. Nuliang Lushan responded and changed from a demon back to a human. Kikyo felt strange and said, I didn't expect you to be so magical. I have never heard of any half-demon that can freely transform between humans and monsters. The half-demon I know cannot change back to a human at will. Only in a one night in the middle of the month, the demon's power will completely fade and he will become a human, but it will only be one night. The update is completed today. If you have any flower evaluation votes, please don't forget to support this book. Thank you. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 37. Maybe it's just me. Nurarikushin doesn't know why he can change so easily. It must be because of his special physique. Kikyo didn't speak. She was a half-demon, neither recognized by people nor recognized by demons. Almost every half-demon lived a life of being discriminated against by monsters. Nurarikuo is also a half-demon, but in his own world, he is about to become the leader of his own organization as a half-demon. This is also a rare situation seen in thousands of years. Miss Maiko is back. As soon as Rikuo Nura and Kikyo appeared near the village, they heard a loud voice roaring. Then a group of villagers holding torches and wearing simple clothes quickly gathered over. They are all villagers who spontaneously organized a search after Platycodon disappeared inexplicably. Because Platycodon is the guardian of the village, Platycodon's sister Xiaofeng said that she panicked the villagers after she disappeared in the bone-eating well. I have searched all around the bone-eating well but failed to find it. Then I searched in other surrounding places. I have been searching around the village continuously since Platycodon disappeared, but I have never found it. Unexpectedly, he came back after a few hours. Elder sister. A little girl of 7 or 8 years old cried and threw herself into Kikyo's arms. Xiaofeng. Kikyo had a tender look on her face and gently stroked the back of her sister's head. An old man came forward, who was the village chief. He said, Miss Platycodon, where have you been? Xiaofeng said that you disappeared in the bone-eating well, which scared us to death. After that, the only people in our village except the old, weak, women and children, everyone went out to look for you, but couldn't find you. Platycodon was moved in her heart, and she saluted to the people in front of her who were busy working for her. I'm sorry, village chief, I'm sorry everyone, Platycodon has caused trouble to you, but don't worry, I'm back safely. It'll be good to come back, it'll be good to come back. Yes, as long as the Maiko comes back safe and sound, then we can rest assured. The people in the village are very simple, and Kikyo protects them with all his strength. They will also stand up to help Kikyo when he needs help, so that they can survive in this era of cannibalism. Miss Kikyo, who is this young master? After exchanging pleasantries, the village chief looked at this strange man, Nurarikushin. The reason why I disappeared in the bone-eating well just now was because I was attacked and taken away by a monster with special abilities. It was this young master Nurarikuo who saved me so that I could come back safely. Kikyo used half-truths and half-deceptions to help Nuliang Rikuo cover up his unknown identity. The villagers said excitedly, that's it. Many thanks to Mr. Nuliang for the rescue. Our village really has nothing to repay. Nuliang Rikuo said, it's just a matter of effort, don't worry about it. A shrine maiden like Miss Kikyo who protects one side can save the day even if I don't take action. The village chief said, young master is so humble. By the way, young master, it's getting late now. I will ask someone to prepare a room for you. You can rest here for the night. What do you think? Nurarikushin refused, no need to trouble the village chief, I can just live at Kikyo's house. Forward. The village chief and the villagers looked at each other a few times after hearing this. Kikyo was the most holy witch and had never had any scandal with a man. How could a man move into her home? You say so, Kikyo. Nurarikushin winked at Kikyo. Kikyo finally understood Nurarikuo's rogue nature. He looked extremely handsome and had an extraordinary temperament, but he was actually a rogue. Kikyo immediately said, village chief, please let Lu Sheng live with me. Well, since you said so, Miss Kikyo, then the old man doesn't have to worry anymore. After arriving at Kikyo's house, Nurarikuo saw the 5-minute countdown and the system was checking in. Nurarikushin was standing in the living room of Kikyo's home. It was called a living room, but in fact it was just a small place of a few square feet. There was nothing around it. It could be described as being completely destitute. Squeak, a door was opened and Kikyo walked out. Is your sister asleep? Kikyo nodded, well, I was tired from crying because I was too worried, so I fell asleep now. As the most powerful witch in the village, you live in this kind of environment. Nurarikushin was a little surprised that Kikyo lived in such a humble environment. After all, he was the strongest guardian in the village, so why was he so shabby? The environment is not important. In these troubled times, as long as we have a place to stay, this village is not a wealthy one. Besides, there are still many people living in the open without even a decent shelter. With a house like this, I already very satisfied. Kikyo has no pursuit of material things. In her opinion, even in a thatched house, you can still live by eating wild vegetables. Nurarikushin didn't worry about Kikyo's residence. You have a calm personality, okay, then where should I sleep tonight? Do you really want to stay? Don't you want to go back to your own world? Just like me, throw a monster corpse in the bone-eating well and you can teleport. Kikyo thought that Nurarikuo was just saying to the village chief that he wanted to live in her house, but he didn't expect that he really wanted to live in her place. Certainly. Kikyo frowned and said, my house is not big. There are only 2 sleeping rooms in it. One is my sister's room, and the other is my room. Otherwise, you can sleep here and I will get you a quilt. Jikyo, as a sacred Miko, is this how you treat guests? I treat you to dinner and give you advice when you come back here. Is this how you repay me? I don't ask much, I just sleep in your room. Kikyo was helpless in the face of Nurarikushin's hooligan behavior, but she did get help from him. However, this BD was not satisfied that he also stole her precious first kiss, and Kikyo didn't want to mention this matter again, so in the end he compromised and said, okay, I'll give you my room to sleep in, and I'll sleep in Xiao Feng's place. Then I won't be polite. Kikyo's answer was also what Nurarikushin expected. Then Rikuo Nura looked at another room and walked in on his own. Before closing the door, he saw Kikyo staring at him with a hearty smile and said hello, good night. Good night. Kikyo has always had a good temper and never gets angry with others, but the appearance of Nurarikuo has caused fluctuations in her heart that has been consistent for more than 10 years. What a plain room. Nurarikushin immediately lost interest after entering the room. Kikyo's room had no decorations and was completely unlike a girl's room. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the sign-in, and the reward item Wangjian will be given. As soon as Rikuo Nura took off his shoes and coat and fell into Kikyo's quilt, he heard the system sign-in prompt and the reward props. Wang Luyan. At first glance, Nurarikushin didn't realize what Wang Luyan was, but after checking it, his pupils shrank instantly. The king's law key rewarded by the system is a key-shaped sword connected to the golden capital. It is connected to the space of the treasure house and can freely take out the things hidden in the treasure house. It is called the king's treasure for short. A new day brings a new atmosphere. Please give me flowers, evaluation votes, monthly votes, and a reward if you are able. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 38. Could it be the glittering king's treasure house? Through the detailed introduction of the system, Nurarikushin knew that this king's treasure did not share a large treasure house with Jin Shining, but a treasure house that belonged entirely to him. The treasure house given by the system was exactly the same as Jin Shining's king's treasure house. It's a one-to-one copy. Although it's a copy, it's still the original. This is true for all rewards in the system. Of course, in order to be suitable for Nurarikushin to use, there may be some small changes, similar to the cracking mechanism. This is amazing. The Golden City is also called the King's Treasure. The weapons, props, and precious phantoms in it are completely inexhaustible, and they will be updated and added new products all the time. It is really endless. Nurarikushin remembered that he would just stand there in the future, with the door of the Golden City opening behind him, and countless treasure weapons shot out as arrows. Each weapon was a powerful treasure, and one person was a legion. By the way, after using the noble phantasm that was knocked out, it will return to the treasure house of the Golden City soon, so there is no need to worry about being picked up and used. On a relatively desolate land, the monster turned Nurang Lushan stood in the sky under the moonlight. His red eyes looked down indifferently at the group of monsters below. These monsters are ugly in appearance. They all look like monsters. They include all kinds of monsters, ghosts, and snakes. There are thousands of them, and their overall strength is not strong. Most of them are little monsters, a few are monster soldiers, and there are 2 monster generals. After Nurarikushin got the king's treasure house, he felt a little bit hungry, so he followed the nearby monsters and flew all the way to this monster gathering place with strong monsters to try the Golden City. Beside a stream not far from Nurarikuo, Kikyo, who was wearing a witch costume, was squatting on the ground holding a bow and arrow. Panting, she looked up at the figure standing in the air and the figure in front of her that exuded a huge amount of demonic power. Monsters! What does Nurarikushin want to do? Face a group of demons alone at the same time. Even if these demons are of average strength, with such a large number, it will be very difficult even for me. A person's power is limited after all. Kikyo is confident but not arrogant. Facing such a huge amount of monsters, she can only be exhausted. After all, she is a Miko, not a god of war. Although she has powerful spiritual power, her spiritual power and physical strength will be exhausted at some point, and if so many people attack her at once, no matter how strong she is, once her spiritual power is not enough, she will be killed. Shred. Previously, Kikyo was sleeping next to her sister, but as soon as she closed her eyes, what happened between her and Nurarikuo today would keep popping up in her mind. Although it was only a short hour or two, because of Nurarikuo's journey along the way, all kinds of actions left a deep impression on Kikyo, and now her mind was filled with that, making her tossing and turning and unable to sleep. In the midst of his random thoughts, he heard the sound of the door opening in the quiet room. Kikyo noticed that Riku Nura opened the door and went out, and was curious about where he was going at night, so he quietly followed Riku Nura there. Here, I saw this scene in front of me, flying under the moonlight. Nurarikushin's figure was magnified, attracting the attention of the group of demons on the ground. What is that? It's a demon. What a powerful demon! This is a powerful demon. What does he want to do? The monsters on the ground sensed Nurarikushin's monster energy which was far stronger than theirs, making them fearful. Behind Nurarikushin, a round golden door appeared. This door was not big, about the size of a round household mirror. The golden door was rippled. If there was only one, it would be nothing. However, after the first Nurarikushin's body appeared, the second appeared, then the 4th, the 8th and the 16th. Golden doors opened quickly, almost in 2 seconds, a golden wall formed behind him, with 100 rippling golden doors connected together, looking extremely gorgeous. This 100 is far from reaching the limit. As long as Nurarikuo is willing, it is just a trivial matter to open thousands of doors at once. Using the king's treasure does not require much demonic power from Nilayong land, it is just a little demonic power to open the Golden City. After all, he has the king's law key as a key. How much effort can it take to open the door with a key since ancient times? Among these hundreds of golden doors, there are 18 weapons of different shapes such as the front ends of weapons, swords, guns, swords, halberds, axes, hooks and forks, and each weapon is not the same. These weapons are all powerful treasures. Tools, whether named or unknown, are far more than ordinary weapons. This, what the hell is this? Kikyo raised her head and stared blankly at Nurarikuo in the sky. The golden light and the part of the weapon exposed in it were extremely shocking. Although she knew that Nurarikuo was a half-demon, it was the first time for Kikyo to see Nurarikuo take action. She did not expect that the action would be so generous, which shocked Kikyo. Especially the Nurarikuo at this moment is very different from the Nurarikuo she saw before. This difference does not refer to appearance, but to temperament, expression, and eyes. It was as if the scoundrel who kissed her before suddenly became very noble, domineering and arrogant. Nuliang Lushan stood in front of the king's treasure. He immediately turned sideways and squinted downwards. At the same time, hundreds of weapons of all kinds were ready to go. He crossed his arms in front of him and said, "Let's talk about raindrops. It's a little painful, but you don't have any objections, so just bear with it." With a thought, Nuliang Lushan shot out hundreds of weapons downwards at the same time, like arrows from the string, carrying the power to break the city, and fell like a rain of arrows. And just after the first wave of weapons flew away, one after another different weapons appeared behind the door, continuously attached with golden light particles and emitted. The group of monsters below saw this and were attacked before they could react. A moth monster was pierced by a sword and plunged into the ground, a dragon-shaped monster had its head smashed open by a hammer, and a monster wolf was hit by a spear. Crucified, a 3-meter-tall green-haired bull-headed monster was split in half from the middle with an axe. None of these monsters could block the attack of this arrow-like noble phantasm, and all of them would die upon contact. In a short time, the ground was covered with broken limbs, rivers of blood, and thousands of weapons. The ground was covered with one crater after another was blown up, and everything was in disarray. Kikyo saw a scene that she would never forget in her life, and her heart was filled with turmoil. If this attack was targeting her, Kikyo would not have the confidence to survive. Compared with Nurarikuo's weapon rain, she can only shoot 4 or 5 arrows at the same time, which is not at the same level. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 39. This is called self-inflicted trouble. Nuliang Lushan looked at the devastated ground indifferently, with the bodies of monsters and their broken limbs all over the ground. He was very satisfied with the power of the king's treasure. It did not require any operating skills. He just stood there and held the treasure for free. It can easily destroy a group of monsters by launching it. It is simply a long-range artifact. The power is powerful, the casting state is dazzling, tisk tisk, how can it be summed up by an awesome person? Nurarikushin held up a gorgeous blue fire in his right hand. The flame was the size of a lotus. Dragging the karma fire, he turned his palm downwards. The flame fell straight from the air. After being contaminated by a monster corpse, the flame seemed to burn. When it reaches the point, the oil covers it in all directions. In an extremely short time, the blue flames covered the entire place where monsters died. And handfuls of precious phantoms that came out of the golden capital and were inserted into the ground turned into golden light and dissipated, returning to the king's treasure house. Soon, the blue flames burned all the monster corpses, turning them into a barren land. In Kikyo's eyes, Nurarikushin used an unknown flame to burn the monster corpses. Starting from his feet, a black ink-like aura appeared on his body, and then slowly dissipated in the sky. Have they gone? After Nurarikuo disappeared, Kikyo exhaled heavily. This time she truly recognized Nurarikuo. A man who can destroy 1,000 monsters in a short period of time without taking any action, and a flame can evaporate all those 1,000 dead monsters, what a terrifying strength. No wonder even powerful monsters like Madara are dominated by Rikuo Nurao. Unfortunately, she thought that Rikuo Nurao was just a half-hearted young master who inherited the family business. She was really mistaken. At this time, Nurarikuo left an indelible impression on Kikyo's heart. Just when Kikyo thought that Nurarikuo was gone and she wanted to step forward to check the situation in front of her, a demonic aura behind her made her hair stand on end. As a Miko, her body instinctively released spiritual power on the bow. Originally, an ordinary bow instantly becomes a powerful progressive weapon after being blessed by the spirit. Kikyo didn't say anything and used the bow as a knife to slash back. However, after seeing clearly who the opponent was, he wanted to hold back the attack, but he could no longer hold back. Stab it! The purple spiritual power struck Nurarikushin's raised arm like lightning, and a mark was made on the ground by this attack. There was a hole in Nurarikushin's sleeve, and his arm as white as lotus root was scratched. Blood spattered on Kikyo's face, and a few drops stained the white Miko uniform on her upper body. Hiss! Nurarikuo felt an excruciating pain in his arm. Kikyo was a shrine maiden, and the spiritual power in her body was specially designed to deal with monsters and monsters. Therefore, it was very harmful to Nurarikuo, who was in the current state of a slippery ghost, and would also hinder his self-healing ability. Hey, no, I just wanted to scare you. I didn't expect Kikyo to react so strongly and attack without even looking at her. Nurarikushin now knows what it means to be self-inflicted. Kikyo looked at Nurarikushin's bleeding arm, and she was frightened. This was another person besides Kikyo's sister who was in trouble, and he was also a man. Are you okay? Kikyo grabbed Nurarikushin's bleeding hand, and immediately dispersed the spiritual energy remaining in the wound that continued to destroy, and then took out a handkerchief from his body to bandage Nurarikushin. Kikyo, do you need to be so harsh? Do you want to murder your husband? Nurarikuo looked at Kikyo, who was looking at his arm with worry, and felt quite accomplished. In just one night, he managed to make a powerful, self-reliant and beautiful Miko care about him so much. Kikyo immediately retorted, and her voice was a few decibels louder than usual. She said, "It was you who suddenly appeared behind me. You were silent and had only a demonic aura. In this dangerous place, everyone would act instinctively. Take action, let alone a witch. Do you think this is fun? It's fun to tease me, right?" Nurarikuo stood in front of Kikyo and was slapped in the face. His momentum was suppressed by Kikyo. This was the first time he saw Kikyo explode. It seemed that this time the joke really went too far and pd her off. Hiss, my hand. Seeing that Kikyo was still glaring at him, Nurarikushin raised his injured hand to divert the opponent's attention. Seeing Nurarikushin lift his hand, Kikyo immediately grabbed Nurarikushin's hand and said, "What's wrong with my hand? Does it still hurt? Go home quickly, I have some healing medicine at home." Good. Then let's go. You really have to hurry up, otherwise you will have to recover. What did you say? Ahem, I mean it's too slow for you to run back like this. Why don't I carry you back? That's fine. Nurarikushin was a little surprised. If he had said this before, Kikyo would definitely not agree, but now that he agreed so readily, his charm should not be underestimated. Nurarikushin was also unmoved and picked up Princess Kikyo and flew into the air. Kikyo hooked her arms around Nurarikushin's neck, and let Nurarikushin fly into the sky with her. Kikyo didn't know what was going on with her, but her defenses that had always been as calm as water broke down again and again when she faced Nurarikuo today. Soon Riku Nura took Kikyo back to his previous home. Kikyo immediately rummaged around the house after coming down, and when he was ready, he loosened the handkerchief wrapped around Riku Nura's arm. The next second she saw that the wound was almost stuttering. Kikyo immediately punched it with her hands as if her strength had been drained. Her worries along the way were in vain. Nu Liang southeast arrow Lu northeast arrow Sheng southeast arrow. Platycodon looks like it can eat people, the slippery ghost is the slippery ghost, literally, slippery. Seeing that Platycodon was about to erupt like a volcano, Nurarikushin stretched out his index finger and said, "Shh, your sister is still sleeping, don't disturb her." All the anger turned into a sigh. "Hey! I don't know what evil I have done to meet you. Don't say that. Your spiritual power just now did injure my hand a bit seriously. But after you dissipated the remaining spiritual power, your monster's recovery power began to take effect, so I didn't lie to you. It does hurt a little. Okay, it's getting late, go to bed and leave here tomorrow. Then let's talk tomorrow." The two of them made a tacit agreement not to mention the matter of killing thousands of demons in Nuliang land outside, and each returned to their room to rest. Asking for flower tickets. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 40. The next day, Nuliang Lushan stood in front of the bone-eating well. A black bear demon was hunted by Nuliang Lushan and thrown into the well. Nurarikushin stood opposite Kikyo and said, "Kikyo, will you come to see me? When I think about it, maybe, but I think it's better not to get too involved because we are not from the same world." Kikyo said casually. Nurarikushin sighed, "You are too heartless for what you say. Can you be more frank, just like me?" "That's not frankness, that's rogue, a rogue. Forget it, now that you know how to open this passage, it's the same thing if you don't come to me and I come to you. It's not like we're separated by life and death, I'm leaving." Nurarikushin threw the body of the black bear monster into the well, and then he watched Kikyo take a few steps back to the edge of the well. He looked at Kikyo like this, and then jumped back into the well still facing each other. After Nurarikushin jumped into the bone-eating well, Kikyo put his hands in front of his heart. What is this feeling of reluctance? What is this uncomfortable feeling? What is this feeling of emptiness? Kikyo couldn't believe her heart, she said, how is it possible? Why do people who have known each other for just one night feel this kind of throbbing when they really say goodbye? After standing there for 5 minutes, Kikyo finally moved forward and slowly stepped forward. 5 minutes have passed. He should have returned to his own time. Previously, when Kikyo arrived at Nurarikuo's era, he was teleported back and forth within a minute while standing in the bone-eating well, and it only took about 3 minutes to come back. Now that 5 minutes have passed, Nurarikuo must have been not here anymore. But even after realizing this, Kikyo still wanted to see the place where he last disappeared. When she stretched her head to look, she froze in place. Why are you still here? Kikyo couldn't imagine her eyes. She thought that Nurarikuo was gone, but she never thought that he was still in the bone-eating well. Nuliang Rikushin also spread his hands speechlessly and said, I don't know why I am still here. I have been standing here for 5 minutes and there is no movement at all. How could this happen? It shouldn't be. Kikyo didn't expect an accident. She thought it would be the same as when she came back, and Nurarikushin could go back in this way, but she didn't expect it to fail. Plati Kodon put her left hand on the well and turned over, landing in the well. I have an idea, maybe I can go back. Explain. It's what we kissed at the Well of Bones before we came here. After Nurarikushin said this, Kikyo remembered that scene again in his mind. His face turned red and he immediately turned around to prevent Nurarikushin from seeing it. Absolutely impossible. Kikyo refused categorically, joking, once was enough for her to almost suffocate, and it would be absolutely impossible to do it again. Don't refuse. As soon as Rikuo Nura said a word, a burst of white light suddenly appeared under his feet, which was the same feeling as when he traveled through time. The dazzling white light made it impossible for even Nurarikuo, who had a demon body, to open his eyes. When vision was restored again, the Well of Bones was obviously different. I'm back. Nurarikushin came back, but not alone. Kikyo also came with him. Why did I come again? Kikyo glanced at the bone-eating well, which was different from the Warring States period, and then at Nurarikuo next to her. Her expression was a little ugly. Nurarikushin touched his chin and thought, looking at the werewolf corpse that was thrown into the bone-eating well yesterday, and said, it's not that Kiss can travel through time, and it's not the reason why the monster corpse was thrown away, so what is the problem? Kikyo is also thinking about what the problem is. Then the two of them looked at each other at the same time and said in unison, is it because of the two of us? Let's try. Good. In order to figure out how to travel through time, the two decided to try to see if they could travel through the Well of Bones together. Then Nurarikuo wrapped his right hand around Kikyo's waist and flew to the ground. After standing on the ground for a few seconds, he took Kikyo down. The two stood in the bone-eating well without speaking, but counting the time in their hearts. After counting to 60, a white light appeared 1 minute later, and the two opened their eyes again and returned to the Warring States period. Try again. Can. The first time of the experiment may be a coincidence, but if it succeeds the second time, it will not be a coincidence. Nurarikuo flew out again, and then flew down again. A minute later, the white light reappeared, and the two returned to the time and space where Nurarikuo was. Nurarikuo stood in the bone-eating well in his world view, shook his head and laughed, oh, I didn't expect that the rule is that the two of us stand in the bone-eating well at the same time. Is this fate binding us together? According to this situation, we cannot travel through time and space alone now. In other words, either you and I will appear in my time and space, or I will appear with you in your time and space. Plati Kodon lowered her head and looked a little complicated. Is it really connected by fate? Otherwise, why would the two of us have to go out together and go back to the same place without one of us being able to return to our own world? Although Nurarikushin didn't know what was going on, Kikyo had to take him with him if he wanted to go back, and he had to take Kikyo with him if he wanted to come back. This is really pretty good. It seems that even God is trying to bring us together, Kikyo. Kikyo snorted, it's boring. This is just temporary, because when I came yesterday, I was the only one here. There is no reason to have two people. That's because you haven't met me, but it's different now. You and I must have been signed by the red thread of marriage. Maybe we are the god of marriage among the 8 million gods. Is there such a god? Of course, gods are human beings' wishes, and they have many quirks and quirks. The god of marriage is quite popular. If you say that before arriving at this time and space, it is impossible for Kikyo to believe such lies about gods. But when she came to this world and saw the teleporting god of night fighting and the 8 million gods that Nurarikuo said, she had no choice but to believe that there were gods in this world. Of course, this god only exists in the world where Nurarikuo lives. Kikyo still doesn't believe that there is a god in the Warring States period where she lives. If there really is a god, how could it become such a troubled world? Nurarikushin naturally hugged Kikyo's waist, jumped up and took off towards the Nura group. He said, I slept at your house yesterday, come to my house today. I didn't go back last night. I guess they should be worried. It is worth mentioning that although the time and space of Nurarikuo and Kikyo are different, the passage of time is the same for both parties. Moxie, are you all still reading? In the past 2 days, the number of flower evaluation votes has not increased much. It has already exceeded 80,000 words. Please increase the number of flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 41. The young master is back. The young master kidnapped a witch and returned home. The natives of Nuliang land had not yet arrived at the Nuliang group, but 2 big crows were already croaking over the Nuliang group with their big mouths. These 2 crows are the son and daughter of the Nura clan leader Karas Tengu. They are called the 3 feathered crows and are responsible for reconnaissance and protection. One of them is still following Nurarikushin. The strength of the 3 feathered crows are all demon generals, and they are extremely powerful among the demon generals. The 3 of them can even resist the demon commander together. After Nurarikuo didn't come back last night, the entire Nuragumi family was moved. After all, this is a sensitive period, and Nurarikuo couldn't leave the Nuragumi, so the Nuragumi family thought Nurarikuo was what happened? I have been searching since late at night, but there is still no news. There were no traces of invasion by other powerful foreigners, and they also asked many gods in the local city for news about their young master, but there was still no trace, as if they had disappeared from the world. This made the Nuliang group extremely anxious. They mobilized the power of the Nuliang group and the city was in a state of panic throughout the night. Unexpectedly, this morning, Rikuo Nura showed up on his own initiative, and was seen by the 3 feathered crows. Among them, Kuroamimaru, the eldest of the 3 feathered crows, followed Rikuo Nurao, while the other 2 crows went to the Nurao group to report the news. Nuliang Huapiao, who was sitting in his room, heard the call from 3 feathered crows. He grinned at Niugui who was sitting next to him with a bandage on his body and said, let me just say, with Liu Sheng's strength, except for there's no way the Demon King could have captured him. This brat disappeared all night, and ended up kidnapping a witch. I really don't know who he looked like. Niugui sat aside and said expressionlessly, General, you have the nerve to say that now, Master Liu Sheng is just like you. 400 years ago, you kidnapped Princess Yingji and made her your wife. Before that, I still remember a certain general who would rely on the ability of a slippery ghost to find people secretly every night. After being exposed, Nuliang Huapiao's old face turned red. Ahem, Niugui, when did you talk so much? Be careful of your wounds opening. Let's go and see my incompetent grandson and bring back one. What kind of Maiko? Nurarikushin landed at the Nura group's home from above with Platy Kodan in his arms. Nurarikushin had just stood on the ground. Before he could put down the Platy Kodan, a Karasutengu flew over and wailed with tears in his eyes, Master, where did you go last night? All the demons in our family are looking for you. You just turned the whole city upside down and had a conflict with the strongest Valkyrie Bishamontan. It was really difficult. This Karasutengu is also an old man who has been following Nura Huaitai since the beginning of the Nura group. Even though he looks small, he is still strong. If he really takes action, he will not be this little one. Appearance. And the 3-feathered crow is the child of the Karasutengu. Bishamontan, what happened? Nurarikuo raised his brows and put down Kikyo. This Bishamontan, known as the strongest Valkyrie, is covered with artifacts and can be regarded as a mobile weapons arsenal. Her fighting ability is rare among all the 8 million gods. Because she is a woman, and her priesthood is that of the god of war. She is honored as the strongest Valkyrie. She is also very famous among the gods. It is said that she is a blonde beauty, but Nurarikuo has never seen it. Pass. Crow Tengu said, we lost some monsters. Jayaki-sama fought against Bishamon, but his opponent was not injured. In the end, the general took a few blows, and the 2 sides talked for a while and then retreated. Isn't Bishamontan the strongest Valkyrie? Even a cow and a ghost is no match for her. She is worthy of being a Valkyrie. There was an interesting look on Nurarikushin's face. The true strength of Ashiaki was already infinitely close to that of the Demon King. He was invincible under the Demon King. He could deal with even the Demon King. He was the #1 general under his grandfather, Nurahui Tao. Gods are born from the wishes of human beings, so most of them are not good at fighting. Many gods themselves are not as powerful as monsters, even as monster generals. They are similar to the gods that Nurarikushin knew in his previous life, all of which have the ability to reach the sky. Huge difference. Although these gods do not have strong combat power, they do have strange and weird abilities. These abilities are only used to fulfill human beings' wishes, so their status is not small. Before there was karma, Nurarikuo was not afraid of the Demon King, but now he has the king's treasure house, and his strength has reached a higher level. He actually expected that there would be Bishamon, who is known as the strongest Valkyrie. Little Lord. It's great that the young master is back. Young master is fine, it's really God's blessing. Phew, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Quickly go and inform the monsters who are still looking for you that the young master has returned safely. In my house, many monsters that are very close to Nurarikuo, such as Yuki-Onna, Kuritabo, Aotibo, Sumu, and Kappa are still being searched for outside. The same is true for Nurarikuo's fiancée, Hakian Rinlandi. Is this the home of Nurarikuo, the monster base of Hyakiyaka? But what's going on with such a harmonious environment? Kikyo stood beside Nurarikushin and said nothing, but she observed the monsters around her and found that the atmosphere here was completely different from what she had imagined. In her opinion, the monsters' base camp should be like a royal city among humans, with strict discipline, a repressive atmosphere, and strict respectability. The strong command the weak from above, while the weak grovel, not daring to go beyond the slightest, and stay on the spot at every turn. Kill and eat something. Because this was also the norm in the Warring States period where Kikyo lived, and it was also like this in every monster organization. But this is not the case for the Nura group. Some weak monsters, even palm-sized monsters, can approach their young master and care about the young master from the bottom of their hearts. Nurarikuo does not have any young master attitude at all. Greeting them is like those people in a village in the human world who can live in peace without strength, but here are all monsters with different strengths. It's incredible. Kikyo secretly thought in her heart that the harmonious atmosphere of the Nilayong group made her feel that this was not a monster organization, but a big family. Rikuo, you are not hurt. Nurawakana walked over from the path where the monsters let go, looking at her son worriedly. I'm fine, Mom. As long as it's okay, as long as it's okay. By the way, who is this girl? Nurawakana relaxed when she saw that Nurarikuo was so energetic and did not seem to be in trouble. However, after seeing Kikyo standing next to Nurarikuo, I was amazed by her dignified temperament like a real lady, and her appearance was also first-class beautiful. She was wearing a Maiko costume. It is said that Maiko and yokai are not hostile. My woman's name is Kikyo, and she is a Maiko. The monsters surrounding Riku Nura were surprised, and the originally noisy scene suddenly became quiet. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 42. After hearing this, Kikyo panicked. In front of so many people, Nurarikushin directly said that she was his woman. Even Kikyo couldn't help but show a hint of blush on her face. She didn't even blink when she was killing the demon, but now she felt a little uncomfortable. This guy was too domineering, and she didn't agree at all. In order to clear up the misunderstanding, Kikyo immediately wanted to explain, but before she could speak, Nurawakana held her hands. Nurawakana said cheerfully, "Wow, Miss Kikyo, you are actually a Maiko. You are willing to stay with my son after learning that he is a monster. It is really touching. It shows that it is true love. My son may still have a lot of bad smells. It's wrong, but I hope you can be more tolerant. If you really can't tolerate it, it's okay to beat or scold me. I support you." This, I'm not. Kikyo smiled bitterly, and she also knew that the human woman in front of her was Rikuo Nura and her mother. "Hey, Lu Sheng, you're back." A slightly older voice came, and the monsters surrounding Nilayong Lushan shouted respectfully, "General." Nuliang Hualao walked over with a pipe in his hand. Beside him, several cadres and faction leaders of the Nuliang group also followed behind him, including Niugui, Ichimoku, Bodhidharma, and Fufu. "Oh, this is the witch you kidnapped. No, is she the witch you brought back? She is very discerning. She is as beautiful as your grandma, but your grandma is even better. Yes, she is like me when I was young. Nu Liang Huapiao looked at Kikyo. There was nothing to say about her appearance and temperament. Moreover, she was a real Miko with strong spiritual power in her body. Even he had to pay attention to her. He had also encountered witches during his lifetime, but the spiritual power of those witches was completely incomparable to that of land women. Hey, what a good boy, he has a good vision. At this moment, Kikyo couldn't be unreasonable. She greeted Nuliang Huayao, hello, Lu Sheng's grandfather, I am Kikyo. I'm Lu Sheng's grandfather, yokai Huaguo, do you want some candy? Nuliang Huapiao walked up to Kikyo and took out a few candies from his pocket. Thanks. Kikyo did not refuse, but accepted it politely. Good boy, good boy. Nuliang Huapiao nodded with satisfaction, and then said to Nuliang Lushan, you brat, if you have something to do in the future, please send a message to your family. Don't go missing, or you will make the family crazy. Yes, I understand. Nura Rikushin didn't expect that he would suddenly travel to her time with Kikyo, and he couldn't do it even if he wanted to let the demon speak. Then he waved away the other monsters and said, okay, let's all disperse. What does it look like to be surrounded here? Yes, General. As long as the monsters see that Nura Rikuo is okay, they will feel relieved, because Nura Rikuo is the pillar of the Nura group and must not fall. Nura Rikuo looked at Ushiki with a white bandage on his body and asked, Ushiki, I heard that Kro Tengu said you were injured by the Valkyrie Bishamontan. How was your injury? Niu Gui said respectfully to Nuliang Lu Sheng, thank you, young master, for your concern. With the treatment, I have recovered very well. There is nothing serious now. In the original work, Ushiaki is hostile to Nura Rikuo and even creates difficulties for him. He does not really want to deal with Nura Rikuo, but wants to see whether Nura Rikuo is capable of withstanding the Nura group. Heavy responsibility. But now, with Nura Rikuo's strength and decisive and unshakable temperament, Niu Gui is completely satisfied, so there will naturally be no disrespectful behavior such as trials. Oh? The devil is here too. Nu Liang was surprised. Zhen is a highly poisonous bird demon. Soaking its feathers in wine will cause the internal organs to rot and cause death. It is a clan in charge of poisons and medicines. However, because the poison itself contains highly toxic substances, their bodies cannot withstand it, making it difficult for the monsters to survive for a long time. Moreover, their bodies are relatively weak and they cannot fight at close range with the enemy. Before the memories were awakened, Nura Rikushin and Zhen had a very good relationship and often played together. Of course, they are not bad now. You disappeared last night, so of course I have to come. Long time no see, Rikuo. A few pieces of black feathers scattered, and the monster you appeared in front of Nura Rikuo. Nuliang Rikushin was also happy when he saw Zhen. It's true that I haven't seen you for 2 years, Zhen, but some of your feathers are falling out. Can you put your feathers away first? If some ignorant little demon picks them up and drinks them, that's not good. That was my mistake. Sun glanced at the few black feathers on the ground, stretched out his hand, and the feathers flew into his hand as if he had been summoned. Then he said, just come back. In a few months, you will take over as the 3rd generation leader. During this period, I will live in my family. You can stay here as long as you want. Afterwards, Nura Rikushin took Kikyo back to his residence. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Madara sleeping on his bed, smelling of alcohol. Nura Rikushin went up and kicked Madara into the wall, but even so, he didn't necessarily wake up and turned over to continue sleeping. Nuliang Lushan cursed and said, damn fat cat, I don't know how much Yao Ming wine I secretly drank to get so drunk. I said I was going for a walk last night, so I came back to secretly drink. Jikyo, this is my room. Today I will ask the demon to clean up a room for you and give it to you. Judging from the current situation, he and Kikyo must live in each other's world, so they have to be prepared for the long term. Kikyo said expressionlessly, I'm a Miko, and you want me to sleep in the monster's base camp. Otherwise, do you have money? In today's society it's difficult to move without money, and you're not unfamiliar with this era. It's hard to find a job, so you'd better live here with me honestly. Kikyo was silent. Indeed, the current era was not her era at all. No one would ask her to slay demons, so she couldn't even survive. Standing in front of Kikyo, Nura Rikushin decided to explain his own situation first. By the way, as my woman, there is one more thing I have to tell you first. I have a fiancé. Hearing this, Kikyo's pupil shrank, and she felt a stinging pain in her heart for no reason. After 5 seconds, she said, "What does it have to do with me that you have a fiancé? I told you she is not your woman." Nurarikuo took a few steps forward and said, "Why not? Your lips are already mine. Could it be that a holy Miko would betray you impurely?" Kikyo said harshly, "No, but I won't fall in love with others, because I have been destined to be a Miko since I was born, and my responsibility is to protect the human race and fight against the demon race. Your path is your own choice, not destined by God. Even if it is really destined, then I can kill it." Nurarikushin looked at Kikyo. Kikyo was the first woman he really fell in love with, so he would not let her go. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 43. Nurarikuo calmed down again from his domineering attitude. "Besides, I can also detect that you also like me." Kikyo's heart skipped a beat, and she shifted her gaze and said, "Me? I like you? Are you kidding? This is impossible, and we only met for one night. How could we fall in love so quickly?" Nurarikushin sat cross-legged in front of Kikyo and gave her an analysis. "Don't always think about denial first. If you like someone, first look at the other person's appearance, then look at their temperament, and finally look at whether their personality conflicts with my own. It's not about my self-confidence. But there is definitely no problem in appearance and temperament. Finally, there is the question of whether the personalities are compatible. You are a Miko and I am a monster. Although there are some conflicts in identity, your personality is not the kind of absolute justice that kills on sight, and I have never harmed ordinary people, and I have also people in the restraint group are not allowed to harm others, so you agree with what I say." Later, when we got along, I could see the difference in your treatment of me. You were still so nervous when you accidentally hurt me. You didn't say anything about beating me to death or ignoring me when I kissed you. I hugged you many times and didn't refuse. So you just imagine, what would you do if you were treated like this by another man?" Kikyo subconsciously replied, "I will definitely not let the other party succeed, let him respect himself, and keep a distance." Seeing that the explanation was finished and that the other party had listened to everything, Nuliang Rikuo said with satisfaction, "That's enough, just think about it carefully. Did I really fall in love with the monster? How could it happen so quickly? We only knew him for one night." Kikyo looked at Nurarikushin's handsome Nurarikushin and doubted herself. According to Nurarikushin's analysis, she did fall in love with Nurarikushin. After kissing her, she didn't feel angry, only disbelief. She didn't reject being hugged by so many people. She was also very anxious when she accidentally hurt him. She mistakenly thought that she would feel empty when they were about to break up. Finally, she just heard that he still had a fiancé. "My heart still feels stinging. Pain in the heart equals heartache equals rejection of him having a woman equals do you like him? Sky." Now that she calmed down and thought about it, Kikyo realized that she really liked this feeling, but the other person was a demon and she was a Miko. She had previously believed that she could not fall in love with any man, but now she was slapped in the face. Nurarikushin saw all the changes in the expression on Kikyo's face, and he struck while the iron was hot. "It seems that you have come to a conclusion, Kikyo. I believe you, and I believe that a pure and holy Miko will not lie or deceive others. Tell me your answer." Kikyo clenched her fists and felt restless. "Admit it. Admit that you like Nurarikuo." "I still deny it, but if I deny it, I am lying. I have never lied, and I don't bother to lie. What's more, I am still wearing a witch costume, so I can't lie." "Call." Kikyo took a deep breath, and looked at Nurarikushin with clear eyes. Although it was a bit difficult to say, she still said frankly, "I admit, I probably have a crush on you." After saying it, Kikyo felt relieved. Until now, it was still hard for her to believe that she would fall in love with a half-demon in just one night. To her, this was definitely impossible, but the reality happened. Is there really a marriage god in this world causing trouble? Hearing these words, Nurarikushin couldn't help but smile on his face. Sure enough, facing his straightforward offensive, it turned out to be as he wished. He stood up, hugged her directly with both hands under Kikyo's gaze, and lifted Kikyo up, soaring his feet about 10 centimeters in the air while spinning around in circles. "Stupid, idiot, put me down." Being suddenly picked up and spun around by Nurarikuo, Kikyo was a little panicked. She completely lost her previous heroic spirit of being able to face everything indifferently and kill demons without blinking. Now Kikyo is just like an ordinary girl. After turning it around twice, Nurarikushin put it down and said, "I'm very happy, Kikyo, you are the first woman I really like and want after seeing her." Seeing Nuliang Rikuo's arrogant look, Kikyo snorted coldly and said, "You must have said the same thing to other women." Nurarikushin shook his head, "No, didn't I just say that I have a fiancé, but it was decided by my grandfather without permission, and we only met the day before yesterday, and you are my favorite, even though I have both of you, but I won't favor one over the other and will treat you equally." Kikyo didn't say anything in the end. She came from the Warring States period, a time of war. In this era, people with a little bit of money and power, wives, concubines, etc., simply didn't need too many, and the same was true for monsters. It is said that 400 years ago, the great demon king Inu Dasheng had hundreds of wives and concubines, including monsters and humans. I don't know if this is true, but only those with insufficient strength would have only one woman. So she was a little uncomfortable with Nurarikuo having a fiancé, but after thinking about it, she quickly accepted it in her heart. "Master Lu Sheng, with you, that's great. You're back safely. It's really great." Before anyone arrived, the voice came first, and it was the voice of the Snow Girl. The door was opened, and Yuki Ono was the first to rush in. Just as she was about to throw herself into Nurarikushin's arms, she saw Kikyo and noticed the powerful spiritual power on her body. She was startled, although she didn't know why. There will be a Miko in the young master's house, but she still stands strong in front of Nurarikuo. Seeing the Snow Girl Bingley, who was shorter and weaker than him, but could stand in front of him without hesitation, Nurarikushin felt warm in his heart. He put his hand on Oikawa Bingley's head and stroked it, and said, "Bingley, don't worry, she won't hurt me, and maybe she will stand up to protect me like you." After hearing this, Oikawa Hingray was even more confused. "Hey, then who is she? Why is the Miko in the young master's room, and what is her relationship with the young master?" Nuliang Lushan did not explain, but asked, "Are Ahe and Aching back?" "They're all back, and so is Linlindi. I'm the fastest runner, so I'll be the first to arrive." After saying this, the Snow Girl proudly puffed up her small breasts. Soon, Begui Yuan Linlindi, King Tianfang, Kappa and other demons who had a good relationship with Nurarikushin came to Nurarikushin's yard. Nuliang Rikushin looked at the monsters who were close to him and said, "Everyone, let me announce something first." "What's the announcement? It looks quite serious. Which force are you going to invade, or which traitor are you going to eliminate? I think it has something to do with that Miko. Shh, everyone be quiet and listen to what the young master has to say." Nurarikushin glanced at Linlindi and motioned her to come over. Begui Yuan Linlindi was a little confused. Did he announce that the matter had something to do with her? She didn't ask any questions and walked over with her straight legs wearing garters. Kikyo guessed what Nurarikushin was thinking. Is this guy going to announce their relationship in public? This guy is a bit too vigorous in his actions. Please give me flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 44. Nurarikushin had Kikyo standing on his right and Haki and Rinlindi on his left. He then took the catkins of the two of them and held them in his hands, announcing, "They are all your young ladies, no matter how big or small. Do you understand?" Shuo's eyes lit up and he said, "Oh. The young master is so awesome. He abducted a witch after being out all night." Kuroda Fang said in surprise, "Hey, no wonder I couldn't find the young master all night. It turns out that I didn't want to be disturbed, so we won't be able to find him even if we search for several days." King Tianfang understood, "Yes, the young master has a cunning ghost who can make powerful demons invisible. I see." As expected of the young master, he actually brought back a Miko with powerful spiritual power, just like the first-generation general when he was young, ha ha ha. Begui and Linlindi turned her head and looked at Kikyo. She didn't expect that Nurarikuo would find him back so soon. Although she sighed in her heart, she didn't show it in any way. "Young master, woo-woo." The Snow Girl looked at Nurarikuo pitifully, she also wanted to stand among them. After everyone left, only Nurarikushin, Kikyo and Begui and Linlindi were left in the room. Kikyo knelt down and looked at Nuliang Lushan with resentful eyes. "Are we developing too fast? I always feel that it is inappropriate. Did you really know each other for just one night?" Begui Yuan Linlandi asked curiously. It took only one night to confirm the relationship, and the progress was indeed a bit fast. But it depends on what kind of person he is. If the other person has excellent abilities and handsome appearance, it would not be fast to confirm the relationship in one night. Nilayong Lushan waved his hand and said, there is nothing inappropriate. It is common sense in the world for men to fall in love with women. Even gods can fall in love and get married. Can gods fall in love and get married? Aren't the gods in the story incapable of falling in love? Once they fall in love, they will be hunted down by other gods. Kikyo had also read picture books in her time, and in her opinion, gods were just a figment of human imagination. Although the gods introduced in the picture book have great power, they cannot fall in love with other gods, let alone humans. Once discovered, their godhood will be abolished and they will be killed directly. Bai Giwan Lin Lindi said, I have also read similar books like this. Gods cannot love each other, let alone get married. Nura Rikuo shook his head and said, then you are wrong. The gods in this world can fall in love and get married. Where did you come to this conclusion? There is no god in this world. Begui Linlandi didn't believe anything Nura Rikushan said, but it's no wonder that her family is an atavistic demon family, and most of the people in the Miyako tribe are ordinary people, so their knowledge is limited and they have never seen a real god. Not knowing that God is real. Of course there is a God in this world. If you don't believe it, I can prove it to you. Thinking that Begui Yuan Linlandi didn't know God, it was necessary for him to let her see it. Begui Yuan Linlandi said in confusion, proof, how can you prove this? Can you still call the gods over? But Kikyo thought of the rather miserable god she met last night. It seemed his name was Yadu God, and he was acquainted with Nura Rikuo. Just as you said. Nura Rikushan glanced at Begui and Linlandi with admiration, then took out his mobile phone and made a call. Hey, this is Yadu Shen, which is fast and convenient, and can be delivered to your home. Do you need anything? As soon as the call was made, the call was connected immediately. You can see how idle the other party is. It's me, Nura, Yadu. I have something for you to help with. Come to me. At the same time, on a small road, Yato was writing his business on the wall with a watercolor pen, and leaving his contact information to maintain his impression in human minds while making money. Because he is an unknown god, there is no shrine, and no one believes in him, so once he completely disappears from the impression of mankind, he will also die and disappear, so he must be a know-it-all. Cleaning and washing toilets, doing trivial things such as taking care of children and walking dogs, etc. It is a unique job for God to do this, but he has to do it. But even so, it only takes a while for the people who ask him to do things to forget about Yadu's existence, so he needs to do such things non-stop. After answering the call, Yadu took the phone away from his ear, saw the name on the note, his excited tone suddenly dropped, and said without interest, it's you, can you ask me to help you with something? Let's talk first. Even if it's you, I will still charge you. Nura Rikushan was speechless and said, don't worry, you will not be short of 5 yen, and how many 5 yen did you eat from me yesterday? 1 yard for another, we'll be there soon. After hanging up the phone, Yadul looked at the artifact companion who was sitting not far away and watching the people coming and going. He walked over and said, Assistant, I have a job. It was the Nilayong boy who asked me for help. The accompanying voice put away his envy of the passers-by, looked at Yadu and said, Mr. Nura asked you for help. This is really the first time I've seen him. But Lord Yadu, since Mr. Nura remembers you, then even if you have been forgotten by other humans, it shouldn't disappear. After all, Mr. Nura is a half-demon and he also has human blood. As long as he can remember you, Lord Yadu shouldn't disappear. I also know what you are saying. Nura Rikuo has human blood, but he also has monster blood. Maybe as long as he remembers me alone, I will not disappear, but it is also possible that he does not belong to the category of human beings, so I don't dare to gamble, it's only safe to hold my life and fortune in my own hands. Yadu didn't know about this, but he didn't dare to bet. If he lost the bet, he would have nothing, so he had to do it himself to keep his feet on the ground. Although this method can only be regarded as solitaire, as long as people can find him to do things, he can continue to live. Leave the soundtrack. Yato reminded him, then placed his right hand on Bianyin's shoulder and disappeared instantly. In Nura Rikuo's room, Nura Rikuo hung up the phone and waited for less than a minute before Yadu and the two appeared out of thin air. Ah! Faced with the sudden appearance of the two people, Kikyo was very calm and had a strong endurance, but Baegui and Rinlandi did not have a mind as strong as Kikyo and was shocked. After Yado arrived here, he directly shouted, "Hey, tell me, what kind of help can you ask the great Yado god to make you, the young master of the Nura group, come to me?" The entire Nura group must have felt it. If it's a tricky thing, then it's right to ask me, god of night fighting, because I am the most powerful first-class god among the 8 million gods. With me here, there will be no surprises. God? You said you are a god. Baegui and Linlandi stared at Yado in surprise. Does God really exist? But just because he appeared in an instant and said that he is the first-class god among 8 million gods, God really does exist in this world. Yado gave a thumbs up to Baegui and Rinlandi, then pointed it at himself, and began to sell, "Yes, I am Yado God, the god who can fulfill any of your wishes, and the reward only needs to be charitable. 5 yen, for only 5 yen, you can get help from the first-rate god, Yado-sama, how about it, it's a very good deal. Please give me flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly passes." Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 45. Nura Rikuo couldn't stand this narcissistic third-rate god anymore, and directly exposed him. "Don't listen to his nonsense, this guy is just a third-rate god, he has no priesthood, no shrine, no one believes in him, he is just a guy who sleeps wherever he goes. He's just a wandering third-rate god. As for fulfilling any wishes, he just helps ordinary people with housekeeping services." Baegui and Rinlandi's face was full of questions. What Nura Rikuo said and what this night fighter said are completely two extremes. Now if you look carefully, this night fighter is wearing an old-fashioned sportswear, and his neck there is also a mouth towel that looks like a child wearing it. This image does not match God at all. It seems that Nura Rikuo is right, he is a boastful third-rate god. "You guy, what's that look in your eyes?" Baegui and Rinlandi changed from shocked expression to dismissive, which made Yado feel 10,000 points of critical damage. Yado sat cross-legged on the ground boredly and urged, "Okay, Nuliang, tell me why you want to help me. I'm very busy. After I finish your order, I still have the next one to do." Yado's artifact accompaniment complained in his heart, he couldn't place any orders, he was still very busy, he only had 1 or 2 commissions all day long, he was really a shameless god who talked nonsense, even his hands were extremely sweaty. Nuliang Rikushin did not write any ink, and explained what he was asked to help, and said, "Come, tell them whether gods can fall in love and get married. As a god, you are the most authoritative on this point." Yado turned his mechanical head and looked at Nura Rikushin, with a constipated expression on his face. "You guy, when you asked me to help, were you just talking about such boring things?" "Of course, otherwise why would I come to you? Tell me quickly." Nura Rikuo popped a 5 yen coin out of his hand, and Yado reached out to catch it. "Gods can fall in love and get married. There are dozens of pairs of gods who have married in Gao Tianyuan. Are you satisfied?" After finishing speaking, Yado sighed. Although this matter easily earned him 5 yen, he felt tired. He, the majestic Lord Yado, actually, has fallen to such a state. It is sad, but sigh. But such an easy job, it would be nice to have a few more in the future. Face? How much does a pound of face cost, and can people eat good food? Can you make money from face? After hearing this, Baegui Yu and Linlandi looked complicated. She said, "God can really fall in love. It's so long to see each other. It's incredible. Isn't it Sister Kikyo?" Kikyo really didn't expect that gods could fall in love and get married, so she nodded and said, "Yes, it seems that everything written in the drawing book is false." Yado sneered, "Picture book? That kind of thing is made up by humans themselves to fool people. Although gods are born from the wishes of humans, gods are also living creatures. They have their own emotions and desires, and they may like or dislike them. It's the same as humans, but because humans have never really seen God, they imagine God to be so perfect. Nuliang, I've told you everything your wives want to know, so I'm leaving. Etc. Anything else? I want to ask you, do you know Bishamontan, the Valkyrie?" Nura Rikuo looked at Yado. "Bishamontan?" Yado's tone changed when he mentioned Bishamontan. Nura Rikushin felt that he had asked the right person. "You do know him?" Yado curled his lips and said, "Of course I know her. She is a crazy woman. I have been chased by her for hundreds of years. How can I fix it? But why do you ask her? Nurarikuo did not hide anything, there are some accounts to be settled. This Valkyrie killed some monsters in my family and injured a cotter, so I wanted to meet her. What, you guys are crazy? Bishamonten is the strongest Valkyrie. Even your grandfather Nurahueda may not be her opponent. You still want to meet her and risk your life? Yadu now shivered when he recalled Bishamonten. This shows how miserable he was persecuted by him, because he was no match for Bishamonten at all. He was beaten and fled in embarrassment every time. Fortunately, his escapability was excellent, otherwise he had been killed long ago. Don't be nervous. I'm naturally confident. You don't have to worry about this. Are you really sure? Nature. Then when you and Bishamonten fight, can you call me so that I can watch the fight? No problem. Haha, it's settled then. Let me tell you some information about Bishamon. Yato tells Nurarikuo what he knows about Bishamon. He also told you that if you want to take the initiative to find God, you need to go to the other party's shrine to find it. As for whether he will come out to see you, it depends entirely on the other party's mood. But Yato came up with a bad idea, that is, if Bishamon doesn't come out, she can demolish his shrine. Anyway, there must be many shrines for a powerful god like Bishamon. After Yato left, Kikyo frowned and said, Rikushin, do you want to fight a god? Rikushin, this is no joke. Fighting against a god, and the opponent is the strongest Valkyrie, is too dangerous. Begwian Linlandi was nervous. Nurarikuo actually wanted to fight a god, and the opponent was the strongest Valkyrie, which sounded ridiculously powerful. Nurarikushin said confidently, so what if God, Kikyo, you haven't seen my strength before. Besides, don't think that God is too strong. God is not invincible. Kikyo recalled that the scene last night when Nurarikuo was able to sweep through a group of thousands of demons with the weapon he shot from behind without using his hands was really impressive, but she still felt uneasy. Nurarikushin stepped forward, holding Plati Kodong Grandiflarm's hand with his right hand, and touching Begui Yuan Linlandi's head with his left hand, and said, Don't worry, I won't make fun of my own life. All you have to do is trust me. The two looked at each other and could see the helplessness in each other's eyes. It seemed that Nurarikuo had made up his mind. Kikyo asked, Then when do you plan to fight Bishamonten? Nurarikushin thought for a while and realized that the battle was not in a hurry, and it would be more powerful against monsters like him at night, so he said, Let's do it tonight. I have to go to school during the day. A good student like me can't just take it easy. Just skip school. Okay, classmates, look at this question. Ahem, Nuliang, sleeping in class is not the behavior that a good student should have. Kirisumafwio was giving a serious lecture on the podium when he found Nurarikuo taking a nap. Seeing that Nurarikushin didn't respond to what she just said, it seemed that he was no longer simply dozing off, but falling asleep. This made Kirisumafwio frown slightly. Is the class she taught so boring that she could still fall asleep? Even if your grades are first, you can't be so relaxed and don't even listen to the class? Since your grades are good, you should work harder. The story of the tortoise and the hare happens to people all the time. Nuliang-san. Mahiroshina, who was sitting on the left side of Nurarikuo, glanced at him and saw that Nurarikuo was still sleeping, so he put his hand on his mouth and shouted softly, Nurao-san, Nurao-san, the teacher is calling you. Woolen cloth. Nurarikushin folded his arms in front of him and sat on the chair with his head lowered. On the surface, he seemed to be thinking deeply with his eyes closed, but in fact he was asleep. Are there any flowers, evaluation votes, monthly tickets, rewards? I am going to starve to death without data, please give me some data to feed me. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 46. Vaguely hearing someone calling him, Nurarikushin slowly opened his eyes and raised his head. Kirisumafwio walked to Nurarikuo and said, Nurao-san, what were you doing while I was in class? Nurarikuo turned his head and looked at Kirisumafwio, yawned and said, Because I was so bored, I fell asleep. Don't pay attention to me. You can continue with class. A role model for our generation, Nuliang-san is truly a role model for our generation. The teacher caught him sleeping in class. Instead of admitting his mistake, he asked Kirisa-sensei to ignore him and continue the class. That's awesome. I have long wanted to fight with the teacher like this, but I don't have the strength, let alone the courage. The boys in the class all looked at Riku Nura with admiration and did things they wanted to do but did not dare to do, while the girls looked at Riku Nura with shining eyes. This kind of achievement is good. He is handsome and has a bit of a naughty personality, which has a fatal attraction for these adolescent girls. Nilayong classmate is here again. Mahiroshina had a slight smile on her face. This Nura classmate was always conspicuous no matter where he was. He had been like this when he was in junior high school and elementary school. He seemed to be fearless, but he was not really bad, he just liked to say expressionless. Tell the truth. The corner of Kirisumafuyu's mouth twitched. This guy is not a good student with the best grades. Why is it different from what she thought? In her impression, the first place student should set an example for others, listen carefully in class, be positive, and cooperate with the teacher's questions, but this Nuruo Rikuo student did the opposite. Classmate Nilayong, sleeping in class will affect your future as a student with good grades like you. You must not be arrogant and lax just because you have good grades. Throughout the ages, arrogance will lead to defeat. I also believe you can understand. I won't give any unnecessary lectures. It's class time now, Noliang, please listen carefully. I know. Nilayong Lushan said casually. Time soon came to the afternoon. Just after the math teacher finished class, Kirisumafuyou immediately picked her up. It was not that she was taking up the students' break to teach, but she had something to say. Dear students, I'm sorry to take up a little of your time between classes, because a transfer student is coming to class with us. Hanakawan-san, come in. Kirisumafuyou stood on the podium and didn't talk nonsense. He went straight to the point and told the purpose of his visit. Transfer students. It's only the second day of school and there are transfer students. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Girls should be beautiful. Huakai Yuan? This last name is so beautiful. The students were talking a lot. Nura Rikushin raised his eyebrows, and the flower bloomed in the courtyard. It was the onmyoji family. It seemed that the naturally stupid onmyoji in the original book had come. A cute girl in school uniform walked in. She had short black hair and an expressionless face, but she looked quiet and sweet. Beautiful girl with short hair, Sai Gao. So cute. Following the many beautiful girls in this class, here comes another cute girl, just like Oikawa Hingrai from the next class. Kawaii. Hanakane Yura attracted the attention of the whole class as soon as she entered. People with good looks will be the object of attention wherever they are. Hanakane Yura stood on the podium, bowed slightly to the students below and said, My name is Hanakane Yura. Please give me your advice. After the teacher left, all the students in the class gathered together. Hanakane-san is so cute. Yes, Hanakawan-san, can you tell me what your interests are? What do you like to eat? Do you like traveling? Facing the enthusiastic classmates, Hanakane Yura also answered one by one, My hobby is probably monsters, my favorite food is tempura, and I also like traveling. Hearing the word yokai, the sharp-eared Kiyasugu Kyoji pushed aside the others with a shovel and came to Hanakane Yura. He said with excitement, I didn't expect that Hanakan's classmates have the same interests as us and like them all. Yokai, then I, Kiyosushi Kiyasugu, would like to extend an invitation to you. Kaikan-san, do you want to join our Kiyoshishi Strange Detective Team? Weird, detective team? What is that? Hanakane Yuan's face was full of doubts. Kiyoshichi Kyoji picked up his bangs with his hand and said proudly, Humph, Kiyoshichi Strange Detective Group is the club I founded. The theme of the activity is to find the Lord of Monsters. How about it? Isn't it very handsome? Lord of Monsters. Hanakane Yura's heart moved. The only master of monsters was the slippery onmyoji. As an onmyoji of the Hanakane family, she had long heard that the master of monsters lived in Yokiyo town. It just so happened that she was assigned here by the family as a trial member. She had only one goal on the way here, which was to defeat the Lord of Monsters, Slippery, as an onmyoji of Hanakane. Yes, our strange detective team is looking for the master of monsters. How about joining us? Good. Yuluo Hanakane did not hesitate and directly chose to join the group. Okay, welcome to join, students from Huakai-Yuan, we can have club activities after school. Gentlemen, this is our new member of the club, Yura Kaikan. After a brief introduction, Kiyoshiki Kiyasugu began to announce his planned itinerary. Kiyoshiki Kyoji once again took out his bag that could ward off evil spirits and said, we investigated last night and found a temple that has been abandoned for hundreds of years. Legend has it that there is a monster in that temple. Today we will go there to look for the monster. Bar. No one had any objections. Because the distance was far, everyone set off immediately. Eri Sawamura was sitting on the subway looking out the window boredly, looking at Mai Sakurajima sitting next to her, and said, "Senior, every time we go to explore a so-called place with monsters, we have to travel so far." Place. Mai Sakurajima nodded and said, "Probably, after all, places with monsters are abandoned places with a strong gloomy atmosphere, and these places will definitely not be gathered in one place, but scattered everywhere." Kiyasugu interjected from the other side, "This is the purpose of our strange detective team, and what fun is there in staying in the club all the time? A completely outdoor club like ours just needs to find monsters. Run around." Yotsuya Maiko looked a little frightened because she saw a ghost right in front of her. She smiled bitterly and said, "A monster? Can you see ghosts?" Sawamura Iri asked doubtfully, "Ghosts? Are there ghosts in this world besides monsters?" On this point, Nurarikuo and Oikawa Eir have the most say. In addition to monsters, there are indeed undead in this world. They can be seen even if they are monsters, but generally speaking, ghosts only scare passers-by. Monsters like them, if you see a ghost, you can only take a detour. Please support me with flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 47. Yakutani-san, can you see ghosts? Hanake Nura, who had been silent all the time, noticed Yotsugamiko's eyes and what she just said. Hanake Nura is an onmyoji. Naturally, she has cultivated yin and yang eyes and can see things that ordinary people cannot see. 5 meters in front of them, there is indeed a ghost wrapped in black energy. Yotsuya Maiko could see without having practiced yin-yang eyes, but she seemed to be very scared, indicating that she didn't have any magic in her and was really just an ordinary person. Hwa, why did Hwakaiwan's classmate say this? Yotsuya Maiko was stunned. What she had just asked was, "Can you see ghosts?" not that she could see ghosts. However, Hanake Nura seemed to know that she could see ghosts, so she asked. There was not much expression change on Hanake Nura's face, and he said in a Kansai accent, "Because there is indeed a ghost in the direction you are looking at, so I asked this question." What? At this time, not only Yotsuya Maiko, but also Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu, Sawamura Eri, and Sakurajima Mai all looked at Hanake Nura in surprise. "Young master, what happened to that woman? She can actually see ghosts." Oikawa Hingrai, who was sitting with Nurarikuo, lowered her voice and spoke in Nurarikuo's ear. Nurarikushin whispered, "She is an onmyoji." Oikawa Hingrai screamed like a cat whose tail was stepped on, "Onmyoji? That girl turned out to be an onmyoji." Nurarikushin held Yuki Anna's hand and comforted him, "Don't be so surprised. It's no big deal. You are mine. Even if she knows that you are Yuki Anna, she can't kill you." Young master. Oikawa Hingrai looked shy as she listened to Nurarikuo's protective words and holding her hand. "Am I the young master's son? I really want to record these words with a human recorder, and then go to bed every day. You have to listen to it once before getting up. You can see ghosts. Your surname is Hanakai Yuan, and you are a senior student at Hanakai Yuan. Are you an onmyoji?" Mai Sakurajima remembered that she had seen an interview about an onmyoji before. The interviewee was an onmyoji named Hanakane. She didn't believe it at first and only watched it as an entertainment program, because anything broadcast through the TV screen would it may have been post-produced. But now that I think about it, is onmyoji really a capable person? Yin, onmyoji. Everyone was shocked. They had only seen onmyoji on TV, but never in reality. Even if there were people who could slay demons, most of them were just pretentious and deceitful. Hanake Nura nodded meticulously and said, "Yes, I am indeed an onmyoji." Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu took a breath of cold air, "Hiss, Hanakan-san, you are really an onmyoji. I didn't expect that I, Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu, actually recruited a true onmyoji. It will definitely be more convenient to find the Lord of Monsters." Yotsuya Maiko was also very excited. She didn't expect that onmyoji really existed, so she could be saved. But before she could say anything, she saw the ghost wrapped in black energy walking towards them. She was scared and said, "Hwa! Huakai Yuan classmate, that ghost is coming." The ghost is here. Sawamura Eri and Sakurajima Mai were also a little terrified. They couldn't see, and they felt even more scared, so they immediately stood beside Hanakan Yura. It was indeed much more reassuring to have an onmyoji. Hanakan Yura stood up and took out 2 talismans from her body. She said confidently, "Don't be afraid, I am an onmyoji, and I can deal with a mere ghost. The dead don't go to the underworld to reincarnate, but stay in the world to harm others. Today, I, Hanakan Yura, will remove you in the name of onmyoji." After saying that, Hanakan Yura threw out the 2 talismans in her hand, and the talisman paper automatically attached to the evil spirit. The evil spirit felt a kind of electric current as soon as he touched it with his hand, and he screamed and quickly retracted his hand. Explode! Hanakan Yura chuckled, and the talisman paper attached to the evil spirit suddenly exploded, and even the other people on the subway were alarmed. Evil spirits are easier to deal with than monsters. To deal with such a small evil spirit, there is no need to use Shikigami to solve it. From the perspective of Kyoshiji Kietsugu, Sawamura Eri and Sakurajima Mai who could not see the evil spirits, they only saw Hanakan Yura throwing out 2 talismans and then freezing in mid-air, and then the 2 talisman papers exploded and turned into green smoke and dissipated. Yatsuya-san, you seem to be able to see ghosts, so how is it, have you been eliminated by Hanakai-san? Sawamura Eri asked in a low voice with some fear. It was eliminated. Hanakai-san is really amazing, just throwing out 2 talismans, and the ghost was eliminated. Yatsuya Maiko's face was full of excitement. She saw the dawn, maybe she didn't have to endure the scene of seeing ghosts all day and night, and it was right to join this strange detective team. However, because the commotion just now also attracted the attention of the flight attendant, it was only after a lot of talking that it ended. Hanakan Yura didn't care about eliminating an evil spirit. If she couldn't even deal with such a small character, how could she deal with the master of monsters? However, she looked at the 2 people sitting calmly in her seat with curiosity and asked, "Nura-san and Ishikawa-san, you 2 don't look scared at all." The others were more or less scared, but only these 2 looked calm and composed. Nura Rikuo smiled and said, "Because there is a yin-yang master like Hanakan-san, and I can't see ghosts, let alone what ghosts look like, so I don't think there is anything to be afraid of." Ishikawa Hiri nodded and agreed, yes, what Nura-san said is exactly what I want to say." "Is that so?" Although Hanakan Yura wanted to believe it, her intuition told her that what Nura Rikuo said was not true. Yatsuya Maiko asked impatiently, "Classmate Hanakan, since you are an onmyoji, do you know why I can see ghosts?" Hanakan Yura said, "Have you been able to see since you were a child?" Yatsuya Maiko said with a frown, "No, this has only happened recently. I don't know why it happened. Can you help me? I am very troubled now. I can see those monsters every day. It's really scary." Hanakan Yura thought, to be able to see ghosts, it should be the opening of the yin-yang eyes, and the yin-yang eyes are generally only learned by onmyoji who have learned the magic. Because it is obtained through practice, the yin-yang eyes can be opened or closed according to one's will, and some people can awaken the yin-yang eyes by nature. Such people are suitable to be onmyojis and can be recruited by my Hanakan family to become onmyojis. For example, you are already 16 years old and the yin-yang eyes are awakened later. There is no way to change it. You are like one in hundreds of millions of people. Chapter 48. Ah, why is this? After Yatsuya Maiko listened to Hanakan Yura's words, she sat down absent-mindedly. In other words, these yin and yang eyes will follow her for a lifetime, and she will be able to see ghosts for the rest of her life. Oh my god, no, this is too scary. Sorry, I can't help. Seeing Yatsuya Maiko looking so shocked, Yatsuya Maiko must have had great expectations, hoping that she could help solve this problem, but she was unable to do anything, and Hanakan Yura felt a little ashamed. Yatsuya Maiko shook her head. She couldn't blame others, so she said, "No. It's okay. I can only blame my bad fate. I have some talismans here that you can use for self-defense." "Really? That's great. Thank you, Mr. Hanakai Yuan. Senior sister of Flower Academy, I also have some questions that I would like to ask you." Mai Sakurajima also wanted to ask Hanakan Yura about her situation. The main thing is that at a certain point in time, she existed, but she was invisible as if she had disappeared. This situation only appeared in the past few days, so she wanted to ask if her situation could be solved. "Can't be seen." After hearing this, Hanake Nura scanned Sakurajima Mai's body carefully, and finally said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, it's because I'm not good at studying. I don't see any problems with you, but I'm sure it's not the case. Monsters or ghosts are causing mischief, it seems like a supernatural phenomenon. Paranormal activity happening to me." Mai Sakurajima sighed, "It's not monsters and ghosts causing trouble, then it's normal that Hanake Nura, as an onmyoji, can't solve it. Why are you two having problems with each other? You must be so unlucky." Oikawa Hingrei couldn't help but said, "One of the two human beings has awakened his yin and yang eyes at such an old age, and the other cannot be seen at a certain time, a visible girl and an invisible girl? Why?" Yotsuya Maiko and Sakurajima Mai looked at each other and sighed. In a toilet, Ching Shiking continued to answer the phone and made a surprised sound, "No way, Dad, I have just started school, and our family is about to move abroad. Why is it so sudden?" "What, because we can't make a fortune at home, we go abroad to make a fortune. How can we make a fortune when our family is so rich? I'm leaving tomorrow and Saturday. Do you want to leave just like that? What will happen to my club?" "What? Leave it to others. Can I stay?" "What, I have to go, otherwise I will starve to death without my pocket money." After finishing the phone call, Kingji walked out listlessly. The call just now was from his father, who said that his family was going to the United States to make a fortune and would leave tomorrow. Naturally, he would go with him. If he didn't go, his pocket money would be cut off and he would starve to death. As for the school, he could only drop out. He couldn't stay in the club that had only been established for 2 days. "After I leave, I can only let Riko Sheng take over as the minister. Good guy, after I leave, except for Riko Sheng, all of them are beautiful girls. Am I a tool?" Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu suddenly realized that there were 6 people in the entire club, 2 boys and 4 girls. When he left, Nurariko would have 1 boy and 4 girls. The club he had worked so hard to create was like this. He handed over his hand to someone else to make a wedding dress for Nilayong Rikuo. He was a proper tool, but there was nothing he could do about it. The approximately 1-hour subway journey ended, and around 5 o'clock everyone arrived at the abandoned temple Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu mentioned. "Looking at the desolate and dilapidated temple in front of me, a gust of wind blew in, giving people a cold feeling. The temple is very big, and it can be seen that the incense used to be popular in the past. However, as times have changed, many people no longer believe in Buddhism, so most of the temples have been forced to close." Kiyoshiji Kiyosugu looked sad, without the excitement at the beginning, and could only ask listlessly, "Yoshitani-san, you have yin and yang eyes, can you see monsters?" He planned to wait until the expedition was over before telling the members about himself, so he couldn't let the fun slip now. Yotsuya Maiko shook his head and said, "No, there are no monsters or ghosts. You have to go to the temple to know the details. Then let's go to the temple and have a look." Nurarikuo took the lead and walked forward with his hands in his pockets. Sawamura Iri and others were stunned for a moment. There are obviously onmyojis who can destroy ghosts, but Nilayong Rikuo still dares to walk in front alone. Those who don't know better think that you are the onmyoji. Mai Sakurajima looked at Riku Nura's back and followed him. She crossed her arms under her chest and said, "Junior Nura is really brave. He can show his face even when ghosts are around him on the subway. You are so calm when you come here, I really don't know what you are thinking, Junior." Nurarikuo glanced sideways at Mai Sakurajima and said, "Senpai Sakurajima, doesn't she look very bold? She has something that cannot be seen by others, and yet she can calmly join the club to explore each other." Everyone came to the temple. The temple was very large, with several houses dedicated to Buddha statues and more than 10 rooms for people to live in. Everyone first went to the house to check. Except for the design of the house from a certain age, as well as a lot of dust and cobwebs, there was nothing else. At this time, the sunset has gradually set down the mountain, slowly closing in on the night. Goo 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 goo. Crash. Ho ho. As soon as Nurarikushin and his party walked out of the housing area, they heard the constant cooing in the nearby grass, as well as the sounds of birds flapping their wings and flying and the wind blowing. Just these sounds startled several beautiful girls, and even the boy Kiyoshiki Kiyosugu felt a little scared inside. Even Oikawa Ire, who was a monster, was startled and hurriedly grabbed Nurarikuo's arm and looked around in fear. Nurarikushin looked at the cute Bingley in a funny way, "Why are you so afraid of a monster yourself? Sawamura Iri curled up and swallowed. She put her right hand around Hanake-nura's arm and said, "It's so spooky. Is there really a monster here?" Yotsuya Maiko also stood closely next to Hanake-nura. Although Sakurajima Mai was not that unbearable, the unnatural look on her face betrayed her, and she tried her best to slowly move towards Nura Rikuo. Mai Sakurajima felt that although Rikuo Nura was not an onmyoji, she instinctively felt that this junior student should be something special because he was so calm. Unless he was a weak-minded person, he must be capable. Body. But Nura Rikuo is not the kind of person with a weak mind. Crash, boom. In the sky, a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed across the sky, followed by a thunderous sound that could be felt even from the ground. Ah! 13 people including Sawamura Eri, Yotsuya Maiko, and CG were frightened and shouted. Even Sakurajima Mai, who had been calm just now, couldn't hold back any longer. Both arms directly grabbed Nura Rikuo's left arm, while his right arm was held by Oikawa Hyaure. The lightning and thunder had nothing to do with Riku Nuruo. He did not use his celestial power. This was just a natural phenomenon. After the thunder and lightning, a heavy downpour fell directly, and everyone hurriedly hid in the main temple of the temple. How can this damn weather change so easily? Kyoshi Kiitsuji cursed. Nura Rikushin looked at the scene in the temple casually and said, "At this time in horror movies, supernatural phenomena often begin to occur." Sawamura Iri shivered and said in fear, Nu Liang, can you please stop talking about such horrible things at this time? When you say this, my mind keeps thinking of the horror movies I watched before. Nura Rikushin said with a bad taste, "Haha, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but blurt it out, but don't you really think it coincides with some scenes in the movie?" Yotsuya Mitsuko trembled and said, "No, don't be afraid, we have onmyoji. No matter what kind of demons and ghosts they will not be an opponent of onmyoji. Onmyojis specialize in dealing with those kinds of things, right Yuzoluo?" Hanakai Yuanuro didn't answer, but opened her yin and yang eyes and looked around. She frowned and said, "Something's wrong. Dear handsome guys, if you can see this, it means that this book is still to your liking and you think you can read it. So if you have flowers or something on your hands, please vote for some free flowers, review votes, and monthly votes to support this book. Your support is the author's persistence, let's work together. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing." Chapter 49. What's wrong, Hanake-wan-san, is something wrong? Even the onmyoji said something was wrong, which deepened everyone's psychological shadow. Everything has been too quiet since I came to the temple. There are no monsters, no ghosts, nothing. It stands to reason that this temple has been dilapidated for so many years. This will not happen unless there is a powerful monster here to scare me. Leave those weak fellows behind. Hanake-nura looked at the tattered Buddha statue in the middle of the temple. There really is a monster. Sawamura Iri and the others quickly hid behind Hanake-nura. Huakai Yuanyoluo took out the talisman and prepared it, saying, "Come out, I have seen through you." At this moment, a strange voice came from inside the Buddha statue, "Ahahaha, I didn't expect that the poor monk has been here for so many years. The poor monk has always taken the initiative to eat people. This is the first time that someone can recognize the poor monk." The demonic energy overflowed from the Buddha statue. The demonic aura gathered in front of everyone and formed a 2-meter-tall, terrifying-looking bald monster. The bald monster had a hunched back and long, sharp nails on its fingers. It looked very scary. The monster is Notarabang. It is said that the temple often has no one to offer incense, and the abbot dies in anger. After death, he turns into a monster. If someone stays in the temple, Notarabang will bite out the throat of the visitor. Notarabang, a monster with the strength of a monster general. The moment he saw the monster appear, Nura Rikushin already recognized what kind of monster it was and judged its strength based on its monster energy. This temple has been abandoned for more than 100 years. This monster is hiding here. It is not bad that the strength can reach the level of a monster general, but the monster energy is not too strong. It was forcibly promoted by eating many people. It belongs to the sky attic. His foundation is frivolous, and he is just like a useless monster like Yuansing Temple. He is no match for a truly powerful person. But after all, it is the strength of the demon general. Just after leaving the novice village, I encountered a small boss-level monster with more than 100 years of Taoism. I don't know if Hanake-nura, a fledgling onmyoji, can deal with it. Yet. It's really a monster. There are really monsters here. It's great. I finally saw other monsters. Kiyoshiki Kiyoshi excitedly took out his cell phone and wanted to take a picture, but when the cell phone camera was pointed at Notarabang's strength, the picture was extremely unstable and it was impossible to take a picture at all. This was because the monster's aura affected the electronic equipment, causing the electronic equipment to cannot work normally. Monster, a monster really appeared in front of me. Mai Sakurajima, who lived in modern society and still didn't believe in monsters, now saw a monster appear in front of her, and the impact was quite shocking. This world is indeed not as simple as it seems. There are all kinds of monsters and monsters, but they are hidden in the dark and cannot be seen by ordinary people. Only some particularly unlucky people or people who like to seek death will go to such inaccessible places to attract monsters to appear. Yokai, you have been here and done evil for many years. Today, I, Hanakan Yura, represent the name of Hanakan Ryu onmyoji, and I will destroy you. Hanakai Yuanyuzu held a piece of talisman paper between his index and middle fingers, and then threw it forward. The talisman paper flew away like a bullet. Notarabang grinned, and his body turned into black smoke. The talisman passed through Notarabang and the smoke turned into smoke and hit the Buddha statue and exploded. Yo yo yo, I asked you why this girl smells so good. It turns out to be an onmyoji. Although it seems that the Taoist skills are not high, as long as I can eat you, I can increase my demonic power for at least 10 years and make me demonic. More solid, ha ha ha. The black gas returned to Notarabo's appearance, and he touched his chapped lips, looking at the flower blooming Yura as if he were looking at something tonic. Onmyoji is indeed a great tonic for man-eating monsters. The higher the level of onmyoji, the more tonic it is. Of course, the premise is that you have the ability to hunt them. Yuluo Hanakai Yuan showed a bewildered smile and said enthusiastically, that depends on your strength. You guys stand back. While fighting the monsters, she couldn't take care of Nurarikuo and the others, so she could only ask them to retreat first to avoid being attacked. Back off. Young onmyoji, none of you will survive. You will all be left to be eaten by me and become my nourishment. Notarabang's eyes flashed fiercely, and he jumped up, revealing his silver fangs and pounced on Hana. Kaiwan Yuluo, as long as he destroys this onmyoji, the others are not at his mercy. Lookin', go. Hanakane Yura threw out a talisman again, but this talisman was not like dealing with ghosts and the explosive talisman just thrown out. It was a Shikigami. Onmyoji's main fighting method relied on the power of Shikigami. Fighting. Because onmyoji's physical fitness is definitely not as good as that of monsters, and they are very fragile, so they cannot fight monsters face to face, so there are Shikigami. After all, magic can only be defeated with magic, and monsters need to be dealt with monsters. A small piece of talisman paper contained a Shikigami. When the Shikigami was thrown out by Hanakane Yura, the talisman paper instantly expanded and turned into a 2.5-meter deer. This deer has brown hair and several black runes on his body. As soon as Lucan appeared, it used its huge horn to hit Nosy Fang, smashing it through the roof and flying out. Yatsuya Michael looked at the place where the monster disappeared, and it disappeared for several seconds. She praised, "You Luo, you are so powerful, you wiped out that monster in one fell swoop." Sawamura Iri nodded and said, "Yes, is this the Shikigami used by onmyoji? It's so handsome. Something's wrong, that monster can't be so weak." Hanakai Yuan Yuluo did not relax. A monster with more than 100 years of monster power could not be defeated by Lucan in one blow. Nurarikushin glanced at him and warned, "We are coming in through the door, be careful." What? Hanakai Yuan Yuro hurriedly turned around and saw a ball of black energy rushing in from outside the door of drifting heavy rain. The speed was much faster than she imagined. She didn't even have time to react before she was knocked out by the impact of the black energy. Lucan was about to catch Huakai Yuan Yoluo, but before it could get close, Nosabang dodged to Lucan's side, and the nails on his right hand became as hard as steel in the blink of an eye, piercing Lucan's body directly. Lu Kun howled in pain and then used the Shikigami paper again. "Damn it, greedy wolf, Wu Chu, integrity." Seeing that Lucan was defeated, Hanakane Yuro threw 3 Shikigami in a row, 2 of which turned into a big white wolf, and the other was wearing armor and holding a spear. They were all very large. The last Lian Zhen is in the shape of a fish, placed in the hand of Huakai Yuan Yoluo. Shikigami transformation. Human form in one body. Hanakane Yura used Ren Zhen to attach to her left arm, causing her left hand and the Shikigami to merge into a cannon muzzle. Notarabang, who was squatting on top of the Buddha statue, was surprised and said, "A small onmyoji can actually have so many shikigami and can summon several shikigami at the same time. Your mental power must be very strong, otherwise it would be impossible to summon them at the same time. A few shikigami, interesting, so interesting, I will definitely eat you tonight." Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 50. I won't let you succeed, greedy wolf, Wu Chu, come together. After the fight just now, Hanakanura knew that the monster in front of her was powerful and not on the same level as the little monsters she had dealt with in Kyoto before. Roar! As you command, Lord Yuluo. Greedy wolf roared in response, while Wu Chu was able to speak, and one man and one beast attacked Nosy Fang at the same time. Although there are many shikigami summoned, these shikigami are not powerful. In addition, your own Taoism is not enough. If you want to kill the poor monk, forget about it. Notarabang stood on top of the Buddha statue, and a black aura was released from it, and a huge pressure suddenly spread out. As ordinary people, Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu, Sawamura Eri, Yatsuya Maiko, and Sakurajima Mai were shocked by this power on the spot. They were so depressed that they couldn't breathe, and they cowered aside in fear. Even though Hanakanura, an onmyoji, was relatively better, his figure was also stooped a lot, and the muzzle that was supposed to be aimed at Notarabang was slightly deviated from his position due to physical discomfort. Feeling the aura on the opponent's body, Oikawa Hiiri was surprised and said, "Young master, is this fear? A monster that sucks human flesh and blood can actually use fear." Nuliang Rikushin narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "There is nothing impossible. After all, I have been in this evil place for more than 100 years. After such a long time of practicing and collecting human fear, as long as the talent is not too bad, it can be achieved." Fear, that loser from Yuanxing Temple, even though he is a demon general, has not developed his own fear, he has lived like a dog for 500 years. Due to the influence of fear, the movements of the two shikigami Wuyuk and Tanlang were instantly slowed down, revealing a very large flaw. Notarabang knocked the two shikigami back to the shikigami paper with one move. "It's so vulnerable. Your shikigami is so arrogant." Notarabang smiled sinisterly, revealing a row of sharp teeth. "Is this the fear Brother Long Er said? Only powerful monsters can display it. I didn't expect that I met one today." This was the first time Hanakanura encountered a monster that could use fear, because monsters with a fear level lower than that of a monster general were not qualified to master it. It was also the first time for Hanakanura to fight a monster with the strength of a demon general. Her current strength could only defeat some small demons and weak demon soldiers. If she wanted to deal with a demon general, she had not yet mastered her skills. Trouble. Hanakai Yuan Yuluo felt that it was extremely difficult, and he would be in trouble if he was not careful today. She suppressed the fear in her heart, pointed the muzzle of her left hand at Notarabang, and shouted, "Take my move, the underworld funeral water pack gun Euro Max. Call out." A basketball-sized water cannon fired from a muzzle the size of an egg. "You are able to resist my fear and still attack, onmyoji, you are very good, but that's the end of it." Notarabang smiled sarcastically, showing no fear in the face of the water cannon attack. In the face of absolute strength, no attack would be effective. Not only did he not dodge, but he jumped down to face the water cannon. He grabbed forward with the sharp claws of his right hand, and the white scratches visible to the naked eye split the bubble into four. The water cannon attack completely lost its effectiveness and turned into a stagnant water dripped onto the ground. Seeing this scene, Huakai Yuan Yuluo's face changed drastically. He hurriedly said to the people behind him, "No, everyone, run away. This monster is too strong, and I am no match for him. It's over. Even onmyoji's Hanakan-san is no match for yokai. Are we going to die?" Kiyoshiki Kiyoshi was afraid and lay on the ground with his head in his hands and his butt stuck out. It wasn't that he didn't want to run, but Notarabang's fear put great pressure on his body and he couldn't run. The same was true for several other girls. "None of you can escape, onmyoji woman, you are the first, cha." Notarabu turned into black air and rushed towards Hanakanura. Just when Hanakanura was ready to fight to the death, a wall of blue flames appeared in front of her. Notarabu came to a sudden stop and stopped in front of the wall of flames. There was only a thin wall between him and Yurikaiwan. "What's going on? This flame gives me a suffocating heat." The smile on Notarabang's face froze, and he quickly took a few steps back while looking at the blue flame. "What's this?" Hanake Nura was also extremely surprised. How did this flame come from? It could even force such a powerful monster back. I can't stand it anymore. Nura Rikushin had his hands in his pockets, blue flames wrapped around his body, especially his pupils, which seemed to be burning with blue flames. Nu Liang-san. Mai Sakurajima, Mitani Yatsuya, and Eri Sawamura gathered together. They stared blankly at the blue fire wrapped around Rikuo Nura. Is this a power that ordinary people can have? Could it be that Nura Rikuo Liang Lushan is also a hidden boss? Among the three, Eri Sawamura glanced at the blue flames on Nura Rikuo's body, and then at the wall of blue flames that blocked Notarabu's attack on Hanake Nura, which reminded her of more than a month ago. The previous Lord of Demons and Demons also used the same blue flame as this one. Is Nura Rikushin the master of monsters? Impossible. Nura Rikuo and the yokai lord look different, have different hairstyles, and even have different heights and voices. How could they be the same person? But why can everyone use blue flame? Who is Nura Rikuo? Sakurajima Mai looked at this scene. Sure enough, her intuition was right. Nura Rikuo was so calm before. He must be extraordinary and not afraid of demons and ghosts. But since he is not an onmyoji and has blue flames, is it possible that there are still people in this world? Is it possible to have superpowers? Classmate No Liang? How did you? Hanake Nura is incredible. She can feel that Nura Rikuo is a human being, not a monster. Since he is not a monster or an onmyoji, why does he have this ability? And just a ray of flame can scare the monster who is forcing her to retreat. Where does he come from? Little Lord. Oikawa Hingrei looked at Nura Rikuo in fascination. The young master is so handsome. He can also use this flame in human form. Nura Rikushin raised his steps and walked forward. Notarabang narrowed his eyes, smelled the human scent on the other person, and said warily, "You are just a human, and you are not using the power of onmyoji. Who are you? You don't deserve to know who I am." Nura Rikuo stretched out his right hand from the pocket of his pants. He did not see how the flame was emitted, but it appeared directly on Kiejibo. The blue flame on his body did not burn, but just like a simple general. He was tied up, but no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free. He thought that with his 130 years of demon power, he could defeat even the onmyoji, so how could he be trapped by other humans? Ah! Notarabang screamed loudly, the sound echoed inside the house, and even the rain falling outside was blown away by the sound. "It's so noisy, shut up." Nura Rikuo's ears hurt when he heard it. He turned his hand down, blue flames bound Notarabang and was controlled by Nura Rikuo and slammed him to the ground. Boom! The sound of a huge collision of objects sounded, and Notarabang came into close contact with the floor. Then Nuliang Rikushin raised his hand, and Yehuo dragged Nosabang to him and suspended it there. Nuliang Risheng made a pinching motion, and a ball of Yehuo appeared around Nosabang's neck and tightened it continuously. Wuo! Notarabang was suspended in the air and struggling continuously, with his feet constantly kicking in the air, which showed that he was in quite a lot of pain. Because Notarabu was arrested and his fear had dissipated, Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu and others returned to normal, and they were all stunned. "Minister, I heard that you and Nora-san have known each other for a long time. Who is Nora-san?" "A monster that even Yura, who is an onmyoji, cannot defeat, can be easily controlled by Nora-san." Yatsuya Maiko stared at Nura Rikuo's back without blinking. At this moment, Nura Rikuo was like the god of war descending, able to completely suppress the monster with a wave of his hand. "This, I don't know either. I have been classmates with him since elementary school, and I have never seen him display such an ability." Kiyoshiji Kiyasugu is quite familiar with Nura Rikuo. After all, the two have been classmates for so many years and have a good relationship. But now they find that Nura Rikuo is the big boss, even more powerful than onmyoji Hanake Nura. Awesome, absolutely incredible. There is also Hwawa. Do you want to vote for me? I hope you can increase your popularity. It will be released at 12 o'clock tonight. If you are interested in this book, you can support the author by subscribing. Thank you for your support. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.